Whoa! On today's show, I'm going to talk about the new Daredevil. From what I hear, Mike's read a lot of books, and Pat says he has a fair amount of new product to show you. Welcome to your favorite live streaming, whatnot, and podcast, comics and collectibles in the crawl space. Hi, Xcellar Comics. I, of course, am your fourth or fifth favorite live streaming host, Kevin. And all your other favorite hosts are here as well. First up is Mike.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
What's up, man? And then, of course, Patrick is right here.
Hey, I'm right here. Hello, everybody. Long time no see. How you guys doing?
Hey, good.
Yeah, hello. And I hate when I butcher the inflection of the teases. That always throws me off, you know. That's why I gotta proofread out loud multiple times before I really dive right in, you know.
Yeah.
All right, good feedback. Man, yeah. I feel like we just saw each other 5 minutes ago. Really don't have too much else to say before we dive right in. That probably makes you guys happy because we're running late, and I'm sorry about it to everyone.
Yep.
I don't know if this is really anybody's fault. We've done pretty good today, so
Yeah. Call that up, dog.
maybe it's mine because I'm up the middle of the night drinking. I don't know. Have you guys seen the stereotype, by the way? The stereotype, by the way, where it's like, you know, middle-aged married men, you know, drinking all the time, you know. Have you seen that stereotype where like young people will mock us, man, you're like a drunk, or, you know, stuff like that? Have you seen that stereotype?
No.
I've seen that lately in videos, but I feel like it's the opposite. I feel most guys our age, especially if they're married with kids, they don't drink that much. Like, I'm an anomaly. What do you guys think?
Yeah, because I never drink.
It must be targeted advertising, Kevin.
Yes, there you go.
So back in the 70s.
Wait, were you looking in the mirror? You weren't looking at your phone. You were looking at
No. But that is true. My phone was listening to me. So it was, yeah, you're right, Pat. Targeted advertising. Okay, cool. Enough about me. Let's get right into me talking. Man, I can tell this is already going to be a super smooth show. You're feeling it, right, Mike?
Man, I've got an idea. I gotta come up with another form to fill out.
What?
Well, you remember I did those what Kevin watched layouts and all that?
Uh-huh.
Well, I see them every time I do the pick 3, and I really like them. So I'm going to use them, but it means that during the show, I've got to take notes on what you say about what you watched, so I can do those and then just post those up. I just take those and put them up on the Facebook page. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, first up for me, I watched the movie Arcadian This is fairly new. This came out in 2024. This stars Nick Cage, Jaden Martell, which he's from Mike. What's that Chris Evans lawyer? His kid was being accused of murder movie show.
Defending Jacob.
Yeah, Defending Jacob. So this is Jacob. He plays Jacob in Defending Jacob.
Oh,
Jaden Martell. And then Maxwell Jenkins is the one on the left of this poster. He's from, most familiar to me, Lost in Space, which I thought was great. I think they did 3 seasons of Lost in Space. If you haven't seen Lost in Space, I think that was actually out prior to me doing regular reviews on what Kevin watched.
Yeah.
It's an excellent show. Check that out. And Maxwell Jenkins was definitely a quality part of what made that show so great, in my opinion. But, man, it seems like Nick Cage just pumps out more movies, more non-mainstream movies now than he ever did put out mainstream movies, right? Do you guys agree with that sentiment?
Yeah.
Yep. All the time. Yeah, I've seen it. I've never heard of this one, but like new Nick Cage movies are popping up all the time. So I never heard of it.
Yeah. And this was on Hulu, by the by. Basically, this is, again, you know, I swear all my streaming services just know to feed me sci-fi at this point. So this is a sci-fi movie, future dystopian, you know, we've ruined the world kind of thing. And people that have survived, but some of them survived underground, and they've evolved into this kind of weird creature. That's at least the impression I got. This is kind of left to interpretation as far as this creature is concerned. It's very humanoid, and they talk about them as if they're like people, but they definitely ain't regular people. So they look very alien-like, but you know, you could see like this evolution of a human becoming this kind of look, right? It's really creepy. And basically, Nick Cage and his 2 sons are just 3 random survivors of this apocalyptic event. And actually, the beginning of this movie is just showing Nicolas Cage surviving the main event with his babies. And then we fast forward like 5-10 minutes into the movie with them being this age. So, you know, and then they have some random flashbacks of a couple times that he had to take care of craziness when they were still young, you know, as they grew up. But now they're men, you know, and Nick Cage actually plays a very minimal role in this movie. I feel like, you know, the draw for this is intended to kind of be Nick Cage, but I would say if this, I'm not exactly sure how long this is, maybe 90 minutes. Nick Cage is in 15 of it. I mean, he's in the whole thing technically, but he only does anything for 15 of it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's mostly about the boys and, you know, how they're dealing with this world differently. They're totally different boys. One's kind of an outgoing kind of jock type personality, and the other one's kind of a recluse kind of, you know, freak. Jocks and freaks, you know, to put in some stereotypes from back in the day. But so they're dealing with this world differently, and I'm not going to really spoil it. There's nothing super special about spoiling the ending, but it is kind of cool, so I don't really want to give away the ending specifically. This movie's fine. I don't regret watching it. It's nothing special. I don't even know if I really refer to it as fun, because it leans into horror and drama kind of simultaneously throughout this, which isn't my bag. I'm not really into those kind of movies. I like to have fun when I'm watching a movie. So this isn't exactly appealing for me. But it's done well. It's written well. The acting's really well. Nick Cage is awesome in it. You know, of these movies that Nick Cage has been pumping out recently, it's definitely got a few stinkers in there. And Nick Cage is always decent, but I think he's especially special in this one. What's that on the poster there too? I'm gonna make my screen big so I can read it. Well, I can't even read it still. It's got some kind of award there in the middle. So this is kind of a sleeper hit as far as, I guess hit isn't the right word, sleeper quality movie that a lot of people are enjoying. It's getting really good reviews everywhere. I'm going to give it 7.5 smiley faces. It's not exactly my cup of tea, but it's fine. I enjoyed it. It's pretty good, especially if you're a Nick Cage fan. I think you really like this a lot. Check it out. Again, I think I mentioned, but if I didn't, it's streaming free on Hulu now.
Yeah. I think some of the Hulu stuff is on Disney as well.
Yeah, how's that work? I feel like that's changed recently, right? Disney bought Hulu. Is that what it is? And Disney bought ESPN. So they're all essentially one and the same. Is that what it is?
I think. I don't know if it's 100% of the Hulu stuff is available on the Disney app or not.
Nah.
Yeah. So I think you still need to have your Hulu, but some of it is available to watch on Disney.
Like the President Cyclops show you keep talking about.
Yeah.
They like highlight it. They say, what's it called?
Paradise.
There's a box for it, and it says upgrade to Hulu to watch this show
on Disney. Yeah. So speaking of that, I watched my second one is none other than Paradise.
Nice.
So Mike, first question, did you finish this?
Yes.
All right. So I finished it as well.
Wow. Those 8 episodes.
Man, I'm a viewing machine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I heard this was awesome from my good friend Mike. So I had to put it up on the list, which I'm not no judgment throwing you guys this way, but maybe you guys could do that for me sometimes too. You know, if you throwing you out some good reviews, you know, catch up and then let me know what you think. Just thinking, just saying, you know.
Who was?
Yeah, you guys. I feel like I never get a revisit. Although actually it's kind of funny how it happens sometimes, Pat. Mike will send me, man, this looks cool, of a movie I reviewed 2 years ago. And I'll be like, dude, yeah, I reviewed that on the show.
It doesn't sound like Mike at all.
Pat knows. I've sent him action figures like, dude, check this out. And then he'll do a screen capture of the episode where he talked about it.
Right.
It's like, oh, yeah, that's right.
It's funny, but obviously none of us can judge, I don't think.
No.
But I did start watching that one movie about the elevation. Is that what it's called? Elevation?
Yeah.
I did start watching that. I was liking it. I just got sidetracked somehow.
Yeah, I told you it was good up until the last, and even the last 5-10 minutes aren't bad. It just gets kind of dumb.
Yeah.
I think it's I can't remember what I gave it, but I like that through 95% of it. Yeah. So all right, anyway, Paradise. Speaking of liking it through 95% of it. Man, yeah, the actors, actresses are great in this. I love the premise of Paradise, and I kind of feel like Mike. I can't even really tell what this is about without kind of spoiling it a little bit, right?
Right.
But I have.
That's what Mike kept saying. He can't really talk about it.
Yeah, but I feel inclined to. Okay, here's the biggest defense I have for it. Okay, because there's only 2 huge secrets. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the first one you find out at the end of episode 1.
Right.
And then the last one, of course, you don't find out until the end of the series, you know. So I'll keep that one completely secret. But I might as well just tell what you find out at the end of episode 1. I mean, oh well. I mean, so yeah, here
yeah.
What?
Spoiler warnings inbound.
Oh,
Three.
Karen says I gave Elevation a 3. That must have just because I was so mad. That's right, Karen. Thank you for that fact check. I was so angry. I technically still am so angry because of how they really flaked on the title of the movie and then how they addressed that during the movie. That's why I gave it such a bad rating. But I do think during my review of Elevation, I was positively talking about it until the end. Do you guys recall it that way?
It just drove off a cliff for you.
Yeah, at the very end. It didn't. It just jumped off a cliff. Yeah, right. It was just decent crap. Yeah, right. So anyway, with Paradise, basically the Paradise reference is the world's ending
Again.
because this one is because of a tsunami. And then the tsunami also triggers a nuclear war, which we'll get into that. So the billionaires of the United States are forewarned of this tsunami coming. Well, actually, one particular billionaire. Everybody's warned. We're all warned. We all know. But there's one billionaire that takes it so seriously. She makes an underground cave that's essentially going to be the after apocalypse community, and that is what is referring to as Paradise. It's a huge cave. There's 10,000 of them underneath this cave. They've actually put projection screens or whatever on the top of the cave to make it look like sky, so the people in the cave don't even know they're in a cave. They still feel like they're outside even though they're in a cave, to make people comfortable for psychological reasons, because the world's ended and they're the last 10,000 people alive on the planet, supposedly.
Yeah, but you don't know that the whole episode. You're watching it, and because there's flashbacks and stuff, and you're just assuming it's all on the surface. Yeah, and then at the end, it kind of pans up, and you see that they're actually underground, and
you're in a fallout shelter. Yeah. So, the kind of sidebar, it's kind of weird to explain in the way that, like, I feel like that should be the focus of the show, but the focus of the show is actually a murder. This also happens in episode 1, so spoiler alert for episode 1 again. But the president is murdered. Cyclops is murdered. He's throughout this show because a lot of this show is flashback. And what's the This Is Us guy's name? Xavier.
Yeah, Xavier.
The character, yeah. So Xavier is Cyclops' top secret service agent. So when Cyclops is murdered, Xavier is on the case. He needs to figure out who murdered him. Looking at the poster here, Julianne Nicholson. I don't know what else I know her from. Does anybody else recall something?
No.
A lot of stuff, but I can't remember.
Okay. Well, she's the billionaire that made the cave, essentially. So like I said, the show takes place underground the entire time after the apocalypse, but it's primarily investigating. It's kind of doing two things. It's investigating the murder of the president while also being this mystery about the outside. Like, what's the outside world? What's happening in the outside world now,
because Xavier's wife didn't make it. The president promised that he would get her there as well, and she didn't make it. So it's just Xavier and his 2 kids. So there's that dynamics between him and the president. He took a bullet for the president earlier and all this, but when it comes to, then you start to question
Xavier as possibly being a suspect. Yeah.
Right. Because the president failed to follow through on getting his wife there.
Right.
So, I don't know how much you wanted to. There are 8 episodes, and there's a lot packed into them.
No, that's pretty much all I was going to say. I was just trying to give the meat of what the show's about.
Yeah. So that storyline does come into play later on, because on the right there, that woman, her name's her like nickname in there is Sinatra. And there's information that she has that has to do with Xavier's wife and all that. So it's like this overlapping web of storylines that just draw you in every single episode.
Well, I'm going to disagree a little bit that there's only 2 storylines here. They're underground, what's going on outside, and they're concerned with what's going on outside and the murder of the president. All the other stuff is basically about those.
Yeah, I guess.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that, the stuff you're mentioning is the stuff that they give us that makes those 2 major things intriguing, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to try to say this as nicely as possible, Mike.
You're not going to hurt my feelings.
We might have a Batman and Robin incident on our hands here. Okay.
What? Out.
This is one of the worst shows I've watched in quite some time. Okay. And I'll tell you what makes it one of the worst, in my opinion. Okay. This has such great potential. And this is why I kind of wanted to walk back to make sure I got back to my 2 points as to what this show's essentially about. Okay. I feel like those 2 things I said make for a very interesting show. Right. And I think this was very compelling through a far majority of it. But man, the actors and actresses were good, especially Xavier. I think he's the high point of the show. But man, the writing was so atrocious and the storytelling was so clunky with moments that didn't make sense to me as far as the way they played out. And then, like you said, this is 8 episodes. Man, Mike, seriously, I will pay you. I'm broke right now, so I can't do this now. But in the future, I will pay you for me and you to sit down and watch this show together because I got questions. Not questions that I don't know the answer to. My questions are all going to be, how can you like that? How can you not care about that? How does that not bother you? Like,
Yeah. I'm shocked that you're saying all that because other people that I've talked to about the show love it. So maybe this is a Batman and Robin thing where you're kind of an outlier on it.
No, you're the outlier. If you look at all
but
the
I'm
reviews,
not, because I'm not alone in the light.
Well, I'm not alone in liking Batman and Robin either, Mike. There's a lot of us. Go to the reviews. Okay.
Okay.
There's a bunch of people that enjoyed Batman and Robin too. Now, I'm not saying it's by any stretch even close to equal to the people that hate Batman and Robin. I know it's a 90-10 split. But what my point is, out of, let's say, 1 million people watched Batman and Robin, 950,000 of them didn't like it. But that's still 50,000 people that liked it. Okay.
Right.
That's what I feel like you might be coming across a paradise. Because you look at the reviews on this, and there's just as much. There's people that are, I'm saying this extremely. I don't know how to exactly define how I'm saying it, but I'm at least saying that the actors are great, the story's great, it's very compelling, but there's people that are not even giving that due. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I haven't read any reviews on it or anything. It's just the few people that I've talked to.
Yeah, I like to see if I'm crazy. Whenever I form my opinion, and then as soon as I form an opinion, I get on reviews to see if I'm crazy or not. You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
well, Pat has a big decision to make.
Well, I will tell you this too.
Your advice and not waste his time, or is he going to take my advice and possibly waste his time?
Well, I will say this. Well, okay, so I'm going to defend you, and then I'm going to defend me in the same. So Jesse, watch this with me, okay?
Okay. Yeah.
And she thinks far less of it than I do.
Really?
Yes.
Man. I
She-
thought you guys would love it.
She calls her bottom 5 show of all time. But her best friend
You watch this show right here with these people in it, and you watched it, and you weren't like doing your taxes or something.
No, focused on it. Mike, the writing, man, like I said, I'll pay you to watch this with me. The writing is so bad. The dialogue and the writing is so bad. The only thing this has going for it is the story, how compelling the story is, you know?
Yeah.
But anyway, like I said, I don't know whether you heard me or not. Her best friend loved it. So her best friend's on your side too.
Well, I like her best friend. What's her name?
Jordy, she's awesome. But anyway.
Funny.
But yeah, man, I'm going to give this, I'm going to go elevation here. I'm going to give this 3 smiley faces as well. There might be a Paradise 2 though, because
yeah, they're already working on season 2.
Yeah, I was kind of tongue in cheek with the Batman and Robin. I don't actually think it is that bad as far as Batman and Robin, me being the outlier there. I think this is probably 60-40, maybe. It might be close to half and half. I don't know, from what the reviews, it's definitely split though. And as divisive as reviews I've seen are, so, like I said, I really couldn't take it, and Jesse hated it even more than I did. So,
well, I've got to really like it because I don't put a lot of time into watching.
I know, that's why I'm so angry, right?
So
because
I get all episodes.
Yeah, I know. I've guaranteed you like 18 shows in the last 3 years that you would love, and you haven't watched any of them. And then you watch 8 episodes of Paradise. Yeah, that doesn't hurt my feelings at all, Mike.
Well, whenever my wife is in the mood to watch something,
I know. I'm just kidding. I'm half kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. I'm just kidding. Anyway, what I was gonna say is, so Paradise season 2. I hadn't heard that it was in production, like you said. I figured it was coming based on the ending of this. But I'm going to watch Paradise season 2. Jesse's like, I think I'll pass on wasting 9 hours of my life again. I can just tell her about it, so.
Well, I need Pat and Karen to watch it. If they get around to it, I'm like, I feel bad that you guys didn't like it.
Oh, never feel bad.
It is 9 hours. It is 9 hours, but I truly thought you guys would love it.
Never feel bad. I do have a new question based on some research I did on this show as well. Mm-hmm. Is it a typical thing, Mike? I'll ask you first. In your experience, that when they make shows like this, do you think it's typical that every single episode has different directors and writers?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I know.
Pat,
Pat,
how do you feel about that?
Even shows like Lost had.
Yeah, with TV shows, there's just so much, and they have to get so much done in a short amount of time. I feel like they have to have different sets of writer director groups.
The Walking Dead's the same way.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't think about that until True Detective season 3, which I also gave that's what I call my worst show I've ever seen. True Detective season 3, and one of the things I noted, if you recall my review on that, was like every episode had different. So I was thinking maybe that's part of its problem, because if you got different thoughts and people different views and directing and stuff like that, it makes a show clunky and maybe not match up with if it was the same person writing and directing it throughout. And I think I don't know whether you're exactly calling it a defense of what you said, Pat. But back in the day, that's not how it was, right? I mean, there'd be the same people on a show for like 25 episodes in a season, and then so on. I feel like if you guys are obviously both used to this, do you at least feel like it's a new thing within the last 10 years, maybe?
I don't think so.
So do you think like back in the day, like let's say the A-Team, I know that's a really poor example, but the A-Team was directed by a bunch of and written by a bunch of different people.
Probably. Yeah. You'd be surprised, I bet, Kevin. I know what there generally is there's somebody called a showrunner, and he like sort of corrals everybody and tries to keep everybody on the same page. But there's, like I said, there's just so much going on and so many episodes that need to be produced that they have to have different teams going to do it. So
I probably would be surprised.
I don't think it's anything new. It's been going on for years.
Okay. Well, this is and another reason I was talking about this in general was because I started to put 2 and 2 together. Like, I think the worst episodes of this show are 1 through 3 and 7 and 8. And they're written by the same guy or directed or something like that. They have a correlation to each other, you know? And I think they're the most poorly done. Like, I think actually Jesse looked at me in episode 5 and was like, oh, that wasn't too bad. And then episode 6 ended and she was like, how's this show getting good? And then 7 and 8, it took a dump again, you know? So
what, episode 7, I sent you a text. It was like the most intense 40 minutes.
No denying the intensity, Mike. No denying the intensity.
The A-Team season 1 directors Rod Holcomb, Christian Nebby, Ron Seatloff, Christian, Bruce, Chuck, Arnold, and Guy. So the first 10 episodes had numerous, and then there were different writers for each episode as well. A couple of repeats.
Huh.
But,
okay.
Yeah, so I think it's been a practice for quite some time.
Wonder why
there's just too much content that one person or one director, one writer, usually I don't think they could do it all.
It's kind of like what we're talking about, like with Kirkman and McFarlane with Spawn. You know, McFarlane's responsible for the story, but then he has other writers that flesh everything out. So that's what kind of the showrunner. McFarlane's a showrunner on the Spawn books.
Yeah.
And then everybody does the other stuff.
Okay. Yeah. I have no problem with obviously conceding that this is not a new thing then, because I think True Detective was like 3 years ago. And that's when I first noted it, you know, and you got evidence on A-Team. That's as far back as I need to go.
But what you're saying is true, Kevin. You hear that, like I remember like the X-Files. They're like, oh, here's another episode. You could tell this was a Chris Carter episode, you know. It's definitely there's that thing where people will single out, we know this is going to be a good one because so and so is directing this one or so and so is writing this one.
Oh, okay.
And there's the ebb and flow.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, we got this guy on this episode. So
okay.
Yeah, we noticed it with The Walking Dead when was it Greg Nicotero would direct, and we're like, oh, okay, this one's going to be kind of heavy on the gore.
Yeah.
You know, it's just you kind of start noticing certain trends on some of the people. But
okay, so there you go, Paradise.
Awesome.
We got one super awesome review from Mike and one super negative review from Kevin. Check it out on Hulu and decide for yourself. We got no problem with what you conclude with your own opinion anyway.
Right. So now are you going to, the way I dog you about Batman and Robin, are you going to dog me about Paradise?
I probably will use that a couple times. But I'll have to be doing it alone until I get somebody else on my side.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So lastly, I watched the first 3 episodes of Daredevil Born Again, which dropped 2 weeks ago on Disney Plus, with the original drop being episode 1 and 2. And then every Tuesday, they're coming out with a new episode. All that accurate, Pat, I do believe?
Yeah, I think in the middle, they're going to do another 2-episode drop.
Oh, okay. So where are you on this, Mike?
Yeah, season 1.
So Emily doesn't like Daredevil?
She did, but it's kind of not important for her. She can go without watching it. So it's
I was just saying, you were just citing the key with Paradise being Emily. Let's get Emily on some Daredevil action.
Yeah. When it first came out, we watched it and she liked it, but you know, it wasn't a big draw for her. So it's one of those. She's like, oh, you can watch it. And then,
Which that is, it sounds like when your wife says, "Oh, you can watch this without me," that's the seal of doom for the show, and you will never watch another episode. Is that what
it'll just take me
saying?
10 years.
It will fade off into obscurity.
Yeah, because I'm even stuck. It's probably been 3 weeks since I watched an episode. And she'll even say, why don't you watch Daredevil? You're watching that. I'm like, yeah, it's just, I don't have time.
Hey, Mike, I think you've shared the meme a couple times where it jokes about, you know, what are you going to do in your twilight years after you retire? And you've got, I think it's the Leonardo DiCaprio from Django Unchained with the controller or something. Wait, is Leo? Yeah. I think actually what might be more appropriate for you, you're going to be catching up on all the geek culture shows from back in the day.
Yeah.
All right, Pat, are you up to episode 3 though?
Yeah, I watched 3 last night.
Yeah, me too. So why don't you go ahead and give us your overall opinion of it so far?
I'm enjoying it. Chelsea and I are watching it. I think we're both enjoying it. I've heard a lot of criticism, and I can understand why there's not a lot of Daredevil action going on right now, but that doesn't bother me. So
it's kind of in line with the comic as well, you know. I think during this run there wasn't a lot of Daredevil action. It's kind of in line with that, right? If I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, the original Born Again story, comic story. Yeah, I feel like this is Born Again in name only. There's not, I mean, there's a few things that are similar, I suppose.
Okay.
But it's not directly adapting that story.
I dug those out. I was going to reread them. It's been ages. So I guess, wow, forget it.
Yeah, that's kind of the same way I am too. But I remember a lot more. What I was recalling was just that there's a lot more legal law stuff, and that's kind of what's happening in this, at least the first 3 episodes. All right, Karen's got to leave us.
All right, I was waving to Karen.
Karen's got to go to work. Thanks, Karen. We'll talk to you later. But knowing my memory, I could have been completely remembering this wrong anyway. But I'm with you, Pat. I'm not minding it being a little slower than maybe the Daredevil, because I'll tell you this, and I'm not going to spoil this because it is so fresh, but the episode 1 will kick your butt. You know, it was crazy. Episode 1 was nuts to me. Like, I was like, oh my God, what the heck is happening? I feel like episode 1 was enough for me. I needed 2 and 3 to wind down. You know what I mean? So even though there wasn't a lot of action in 2 and 3, barely any actually. 1, I was still just recovering from 1 essentially, because 1's obviously got plenty of action, but also just butt kicking events, you know. So if you're not familiar with what Daredevil Born Again is about in general, is kind of Daredevil decides he doesn't want to be Daredevil anymore, and kind of where we are so far is Daredevil kind of realizing he needs to put on the suit again. Is that kind of a real simple breakdown of episodes 1 through 3, Pat? Agree with that?
I mean, it's one of those deals, you know, he's, you know, throw the costume in the trash, but you know what's eventually going to happen. You know, events will conspire to bring him back into the mix. It's just, how do you get there, you know?
Yeah, I thought the end of episode 2 was going to get us the suit at the beginning of episode 3, but then that didn't happen. You know, I guess that's a little bit of a spoiler. That didn't happen. He still doesn't have the suit on in episode 3. But yeah, this is great for me so far. And in every way. Great acting, great dialogue, great story. I'm loving it. I'm not too familiar with White Tiger, or do you know much about White Tiger, Pat? Is this kind of falling in line with him?
Not a lot. I mean, I think there's been various White Tigers, and it's sort of the same deal. You know, they get the amulet and they get the powers and so forth.
Sorry, Mike, what were you gonna say?
Oh, I think that actor just passed away as well.
Yeah.
Oh, the actor that played White Tiger in Daredevil Born Again passed away?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh man, it's just like
I think he was
Light.
sick. I think he was very ill while he was filming.
Wow. That sucks.
Yeah, he got a dedication, I think, at the beginning of the first episode. But if you're not really familiar with the act, I can't even pull the name off the top of my head. But they gave him a dedication right at the beginning of the first episode.
I think I saw that, but yeah, I didn't know that's who it was. Yeah. Okay. The only I've got one, for lack of a better way to describe it, a gripe with Daredevil Born Again that I thought was kind of hokey. So Kingpin becomes the mayor of New York. And they mention in the show that what's his name? What's his wife's name? Vanessa, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
Vanessa.
Yeah.
They mention that the conservative people that have problems with him being mayor would deal with his relationship with Vanessa if she was around more, but Kingpin has actually asked Vanessa to step back because of this complicated thing with while Kingpin was gone. You'll find out at the end of season 3 of Daredevil, Mike. Vanessa kind of took over as Kingpin, sort of, and he comes back. She kind of goes back into the shadows, and he's like, you need to chill because people won't really accept us being in a relationship while I'm running for mayor. I thought it was kind of hokey. I'm like, so they represented in the show that the conservative people are going to have more problem with him being with Vanessa versus him being a previous crime lord. It was like, you know what I'm saying? Which obviously a lot of people still have that problem with Kingpin, but nevertheless, he becomes mayor. So, you know,
I thought it was actually the opposite. The optics, they wanted to see him with her more, but because they're having marital issues, that's why they're going to counseling, because they want to have her out front more to appeal to the conservative demographic.
Maybe I said that flip-flop, but yes, you were right. That's what I meant though. So she's been he wanted her in the backdrop. So that's what I'm saying. The conservatives have a problem with her in the backdrop. They want them being together. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I butchered that. Sorry. Yeah, you're right though, Pat. Thanks for correcting that. That's what I meant though.
See, Pat, this is why I need you to watch Paradise.
No, I know what I'm watching. It's just sometimes I don't know exactly how to explain it to you. Which is why I'm not talking about Paradise too much either, because I guarantee if I pointed out things that bothered me, you'd be like, what's the big deal? I need to watch it with you at the same time and just be like, dude, what's up? Dude,
right.
What is that? What is that? Are you still a fan of the Wii, Pat?
The Nintendo Wii?
Yeah.
I don't know where this question's coming from.
Bear with me. Just answer my question.
It hasn't been hooked up for quite a while because we had a Wii U, so we could play the Wii games on the Wii U. So
yeah. So it's a has-been console that no one cares about anymore, right?
I suppose.
But somebody kills somebody over it in Paradise, Pat. Go ahead and sleep on that. Mike, what do you got? Okay. What, Mike? What?
Is it set in the past?
No, it's now. It's now arguably the future.
Wow.
I don't think that's the only reason.
She literally says it.
You should have let me have the Wii.
Excuse me. Spoiler alert. Yeah. Anyway, watch it, Pat. You'll see what I'm talking about. I just wanted to. That was kind of a secret jab at Mike because I did remember one thing that I thought was extremely dumb. But anyway, so yeah, watch Daredevil Born Again. I'm giving this a solid 8.5 smiley faces. I'm going to be checking it out as soon as I can every week. So future updates to come. And man, I'll tell you, Pat, the final scene of this actually is concerning to me. The final scene of episode 3.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on there, but they better be playing games.
Well, I feel it's a definite swerve because they didn't show his face.
Right. But that's all I'm saying. If they try to, because people got problems with Punisher nowadays, you know what I mean? Not that people haven't always had problems with Punisher, but I feel like Punisher is more of a problem recently. I don't know, but so we'll see.
Yeah.
So yeah, check it out.
I will say just quickly about this show. I hated what happened in episode 1. I hate it. I still am enjoying the show, but I don't agree with the decisions that were made. That's all.
Okay.
All I can really say without spoiling anything.
All right, let me clarify that real quick for you.
With Foggy?
Yeah, that's what I'd assume you're talking about, right, Pat?
Yes.
See, I know stuff.
Okay, good. But I'm just saying, you hate it because of what happened, or you hate it because of how it was done, or just because of what happened? Just a choice to make it happen, essentially.
My comic book Daredevil is influencing my statements here, I suppose.
Okay.
I just don't like not having Foggy in the picture. But I feel they did it. They just swapped the character because they would have gotten more outrage the other way. I'm talking in vagaries here, but
yeah. I think it is a storyline that I don't know what volume of Daredevil it was. But there is a storyline that happened, I think. But I think it's from the 2000s. So,
well, I don't know.
It's kind of a mixing.
Well, I hated it too in my heart, but I didn't. I'm not like hating that they made that choice. It's a butt kicker.
And it's also, when you start hearing a little bit behind the scenes, they weren't happy with the initial direction the show was going, and they sort of revamped it. And episode 1 was all new. They added episode 1.
Oh, really?
If you remember hearing, Karen Page and Foggy and Bullseye weren't even going to be in Born Again. And then
I didn't know that.
They shifted gears and did a new first episode. And
to attach it back with Netflix, essentially.
Well, I don't know. I just don't think they were happy with the direction that the storyline was going in. But there were also people that were, that wanted those characters back, and it's like, careful what you ask for, because
look what they did.
The way they did things, they're, I'm sure, I think comics have really, sort of, I don't know if they coined the term. I think like it's been around all the time, but you hear fridging a character, and that's sort of what they did here. It's like they do something to a character just to out of left field right away, just to get a character's motivation going a certain direction that they need it to go. And and if that was the only reason they hired these people back, it sucks.
Yeah.
But again, I'm enjoying it, but I wish they wouldn't have done what they did here. I almost wish they would have just went back and revamped the entire show instead of trying to use pieces of what had already been shot,
Yeah.
We'll see how it all turns out in the end.
Yeah, we will see. I think definitely, obviously, having I can't remember the actor's name at this point, but this Daredevil and this Kingpin is just great. I mean, I think that's what's carrying the show for me right now. Yeah.
Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah, right.
They're really the main draws. They're very good together, playing off each other.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, Daredevil Born Again 8.5 smiley faces. Check it out on Disney Plus. That's technically all I have for today. But I just wanted to give it out an honorable mention to another movie that I watched randomly. Like literally when I'm downstairs here, I usually don't do any kind of, Xcellar work downstairs. I usually do it upstairs and I watch what I want to watch. But when I'm down here, I just turn on Jesse's TV and whatever's on, I kind of watch. And I saw this movie I didn't know existed with Sandra Bullock called Unforgivable. Are you guys familiar with that at all?
I don't think so.
No. Nope.
This movie. So I have this thing I used to say back in the day. What was that Brad Pitt wilderness movie, Legends of the Fall?
Yeah.
I love that movie, but have no desire to ever watch it again. Okay. It's like a love-hate relationship. I love that movie so much once.
Yeah.
Never want to watch it again. This movie, Unforgivable, with Sandra Bullock is exactly like that. It is one of the most amazing experiences I've had in a long time watching a movie. But unfortunately, it wasn't a feel-good experience. But you can just appreciate how quality it is with what it did. It literally took me 3 days to recover. I mean, this was on my mind for 3 days. So check out Unforgivable by Sandra Bullock. I think I watched that on Netflix. But super high quality. I'm going to non-ironically give it 10 sad faces. 10. It's a 10, but sad faces, not smiley faces. 10 sad faces. So anyway, check that one out as well.
I'm moving it to the top of my list.
For real? Man, I would love that so much.
I will if you want, but I got that Elevation to watch first.
I'm really strongly feeling like Emily would like that one as well.
Elevation?
No, Unforgivable.
Oh, okay.
I don't think you'll mind Elevation. I think you guys will be frustrated as me at the end of Elevation, but
probably.
Yeah. But yeah, okay. I think Unforgivable, Emily would like that a lot as well. So
okay.
All right, that'll do it for me. Good stuff.
Yep.
Hold on a second. Where'd Karen go?
Well, all of it was, some of it was good. The Paradise, flawed, but I think Karen went the real job.
The one thing that me and Jesse definitely agreed on with Paradise was just that, man, it was such a great conceptual movie. Like the idea and the compelling nature of the storyline in general that's what makes us more frustrated,
Yeah. I mean, I'll give you the we thing, but I think it just
the we is one small example amongst 100 we examples.
I'm explaining that I think it goes to show that how immature that character is.
Right. Agreed. Yep. I get like 18 things I want to say about that character right now. Not to mention the other characters, but we'll save that for never. A private conversation between me and Mike over having a glass of rum and Coke.
Right. I was just saying, I'm not taking your calls. I'd be like,
okay.
Talk smack. I know.
All right, let's get over me and get to Mike. All right, man.
Dang, I feel bad that I'm down here, not upstairs. The dog put some boots on. He's trashing the place.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
You can kind of hear it. Did you hear that, Pat?
Here's something going on.
Yeah.
That's the puppy.
Dadgum.
All right. Here we go with our pick 3. 10 covers chosen from a list of 633. These all have a shelf date of Wednesday, March 19th. Dynamite alone had 111 covers. This is a quick breakdown. Silverhawks, number 2, 31 covers. Thundercats, Lost, number 1, 25. The Herculoids, number 2, 22.
Let me ask you guys a philosophical question about comic books real quick. So we hear all the time about how comic books are, approaching their last legs, right? You hear this kind of mantra all the time, right?
Yeah.
How do we get that with also 100 and some variant covers for one book? How do those two things reconcile with each other?
I don't know.
I don't know how Dynamite does it, honestly.
Yeah. It's crazy. Because it's not like they're printing, like you can pick up a Marvel book and the paper, you can tell the difference. I mean, Dynamite's got some heavy stock covers, I think.
But even Marvel, obviously, there's a lot of variants. We're talking hundreds with Dynamite, but even with Marvel, there's a lot of variants and stuff. Whenever I say whenever as if I'm out of the storm already, but that's a whole nother story. Whenever my business started having problems, my first reaction is to scale back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we've been talking for how many years now about how comic books are having problems, but it doesn't seem to scale back out, with, like you're saying, these secondary companies even up in the game. Do they think that's the answer, or what? I don't know.
Probably. It's like doubling down on a bad idea.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into these.
All right. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Detective Comics 1095, Bruno Redondo. One World Under Doom, number 2, Jerome Pena, and that's the 1-in-25 ratio. Catwoman 74, Frank Cho. King Spawn 43, Mirko Kolak. Deadly Tales of the Gunslinger, number 4, Marcio Toledano Vargas. The Herculoids, number 2, Eric Powell. The Last Boy, number 1, Bill Sienkiewicz. Absolute Wonder Woman, number 1, Art Germ, and that is the Fan Expo exclusive for Cleveland.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Nightwing 124, Jorge Fornes. And once again, One World Under Doom, number 2, Will Slaney. Yeah, I'm going to go with Will Slaney. Yeah, unfortunately, that's an exclusive, that Wonder Woman. You're going to have to probably search that one out.
That's probably not happening. I love it enough to grab it off the shelf, but I don't know about seeking it out. Yeah.
You know what's funny? As I was reading these names, it's crazy how Bill Sienkiewicz's name is easier for me to say and spell than some of the.
Well, it's because you've had years and years and years of practice.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, not like in the 80s when I called him Bill Sienkiewicz.
Yeah. This Catwoman cover is what made me think of my absolute Batman comment,
Quamanatan.
Yeah, that's what Marcus even looked at. He goes, "What book is that, Catwoman?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, just keep this in mind. One of these covers didn't receive any votes.
Dum, dum,
guys-
dum.
Oh, I already know what it is. I know. I'd bet a paycheck I know what it is. And I will say it's just because I know what was voted in this house. So it's the only thing I can conclude based on that.
Okay. All right. Well, after we reveal these 3, then we can discuss that one.
Okay.
All right. So here we go. Coming in third. I was pleasantly surprised here. We've got Deadly Tales of the Gunslinger Olympics. Yeah, I like that one, especially that sunset back there.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. This was not one of my picks, but it's a pretty cool cover. Pat, did you pick this one?
I did not.
Yeah, I actually made notes on I'm the only one of the 3 of us that picked this one.
Yeah. You got a hankering for some Deadly Tales right now.
Seriously, yep. I do like this title.
Yeah.
And I'm biased. If it's a book that I'm reading and
Right.
enjoying,
Yeah.
a lot of times it's going to make my top 10. I try not to. I'm like, oh, I'll put this on there. I'm like, but am I doing that because it's really
You're
great,
human.
or am I
You're
doing
human,
that
Mike. Yeah, you're human. Yeah.
because it's on my radar a lot?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, obviously the infamous closing of that I say every day. It's like, you're gonna love these. If you love these covers, you're gonna love them so much more if you know the story.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Number 2. This one completely took me by surprise. I almost didn't even put it on the list.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm surprised it got as many votes as it did.
Oh, I know what it is.
You want to
Can I
guess?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Nightwing.
Okay. Wonderful guess. Nightwing 124, Jorge Fornes. And yeah, you and Pat voted for this one. I did not.
Yeah, this one was, it's so funny. It immediately wasn't on my radar, but the more I looked at it, the more I liked it. So I was like, that's what I just figured would be like a, like a sleeper.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool.
Definitely was. I was surprised. But you're right. The more you kind of look at it, the better it is. What do you think, Pat?
Yeah, I voted for it. I mean, I thought it was just it was an interesting conception.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, imagine getting that right too. Drawing that and getting it right. I mean, it's, it just looks like it would be to take a bunch of pictures and then make art in itself with the pictures connecting it's just cool. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, I think it's Fornia's kind of just picked or kept going with Redondo's very unique presentations. So
Yeah.
I think it's pretty good. All right. And number 1.
Hold on. I
Yeah.
got this. Okay. Here we go.
This. Let's go.
Nice.
Absolute Wonder Woman. Number 1 from Art Firm. There he is. Back at the top of our pick 3 Art Firm. It's been a while.
Yeah.
So maybe around Cover Combat 21, we may do another pick 3. And Art Firm will be there.
I'm thinking this might be a Cover Combat 12 pick for me.
I just saw a Dan Mora cover for, it's a variant, I think, for Absolute Wonder Woman. I just saw it this morning, and holy cow, I've got to find it, and I'll kind of post it up onto the Facebook page if I get a chance. But anyway, not to take anything away with this one. This is great.
Mike, I'm really feeling the pressure of changing some intros now because I really like this. This is a cool new presentation you got going on here with the pick 3. I'm liking it. I like that.
Oh, thanks. It's I've had the idea for a while. I just wasn't sure if it would execute very well.
Yeah, very cool. Pat, did you vote for this one?
yes, I did.
Yes.
All 3 of us voted for this one.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's obviously gorgeous, but it's cool. It's a cool look in general anyway for her. So yeah, I like it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, if you get an art germ that's kind of waist up, I mean, this is more than waist up. This is a whole upper torso from the thighs up and some background stuff. It's
cool.
That's really great. So there you go. So there's your pick 3. Go get all 10 of these, or just get 9 of them because one of them wasn't voted on at all. You guys have guesses?
Yeah, my guess is the Herculoids.
Wrong.
Pat, you voted for the Herculoids?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. This one actually had quite a few. One more vote, it may have been in the top 3.
Wow. Okay. It was definitely on my radar. The only reason I picked it is because I figured all the rest of them except one got picks, but that other one I picked.
And this is Eric Powell. You know, like I said, sometimes I think of other people on the show. Like this one's kind of a nod to Pat. I know he's an Eric Powell fan. So that's why I put that one up there. And I like it, but so
well, I 100% know what the answer is now, but I want to hear Pat's guess.
Well, I'm like you, Kevin. I also have two possibilities.
Okay.
But I'll give you my first one. The non-Doctor Strange looking One World Under Doom.
Actually, that was my
the last
second
one.
guess.
Yes.
That was my second guess as well.
Okay. You are correct.
Yeah.
0. Man, I like that one.
I think that suffered a little bit of the fate of having two One World
True.
Under Dooms. Yeah.
Yeah. I was struggling too, so maybe that's why. You know, it's like I need one more.
Am I the only one that voted for the Last Boy?
Yeah.
I almost didn't vote for it, but then as I was looking for it more, I was like, yeah, that actually does look really cool. And obviously I've talked a lot recently about how I'm appreciating Sienkiewicz more. And then he's a pirate and I'm a pirate guy. So, you know.
Yeah, the least favorite, One World Under Doom, The Last Boy, and One World Under Doom.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I got two things I wanted to say. First of all, Pat, question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Does it matter what timeline a comic is in to be a spinoff? Like, does it have to take place at the same time in the future, in the past? Does it matter?
I don't think so.
Well, I know where you're going, and I have a rebuttal for that.
Well, I was just looking for Pat's opinion because I'm not calling mine the gospel because I told Mike that I consider that Deadly Tales a spinoff, and then Mike was saying he doesn't consider it a spinoff because it's in a different timeline. It's a prequel essentially, you know. What were you saying, Mike?
But also a spinoff usually is when you've got a set of characters and then you take a couple of those characters and now they have like Laverne and Shirley's a spinoff of Happy Days. You know, it's you've got a characters that you put into a different title that's
that's exactly what Deadly Tales of Gunslinger is.
No, it's the same character. It's the title character.
But Gunslinger's a spinoff of Scorched.
Oh, it is. I thought it came out at the same time.
No, Gunslinger's actually the first appearance of Gunslinger's in Spawn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then Scorched. This is what I was saying about it before. Then I think Gunslinger came out, and then they put all the different Spawns together in a team and Scorched, and now they put out Deadly Tales of Gunslinger while Gunslinger's still rolling. So it'd be like you use Laverne and Shirley, so I'll just roll with that. So it'd be like they have Laverne and Shirley show from Happy Days, and then they have a Laverne
Lenny
show.
and Squiggy show.
No. It's more specific. They have a Laverne show.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? While Laverne and Shirley's still running. You know, that's anyway, we talked about this. I did have one thing I wanted to rebut to Mike from New York about his Teen Titans things. Something that I don't consider a spin-off is if they took a bunch of characters, put them in a group, and then took the characters out of the group again. Because I feel like that was one of his things was the Teen Titans. So they took a bunch of characters and they put them in the Teen Titans, and then they put the Teen Titans in a different title or something like that. I can't remember exactly what he was citing, but I was thinking why I thought that was different, and that's why.
Yeah. But I think I still fall back on the different timeline thing because it's taking the opportunity to now you're getting to
explain him.
Yeah. Stories go, or, instead of them waiting until the current run is over to go back and tell these other stories, you're getting both of them at the same time.
Yeah, which is frustrating for my wallet.
Yes.
Which I want to get these, but I'm not because I can't afford them all,
Yeah. Well, I'm just getting this one. I'm not getting the regular Gunslinger. I decided I'm not going to I like the time period. This is what drew me to this one is the
Wild West.
yeah, the Wild West stuff. So anyway, that's there's your pick threes. Go get all 10.
Yeah, I'm excited to grab the Hercules though. I'm gonna grab that. Did you order that, Pat?
I did.
Yeah.
I did not. So I can't wait for you guys to read it. Tell me.
Tell you about it. Gotcha.
That last, you know, one comment on that last book cover. Doesn't it look like the crocodile's like photobombing the picture?
Oh yeah. It does kind of. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys order that one?
I did not.
Yeah, I couldn't stretch the dollars enough, but I do want to know how it is.
Yeah. No. I got the Silverhawks. I don't know whether you want to pick that up.
No.
Yeah, it's good. It's a new Silverhawks. It's not the same old Silverhawks. Like it does kind of like a Watchmen thing where the old Silverhawks are in it, but they're kind of the old guard, and then a new young team of Silverhawks come along. It's pretty cool.
Yep. So there you go.
All right, awesome. Great job. And this is the last time I'm going to say this just because I feel like being a little naturally clever right now. Mike, you're better picking covers than you are dystopian, futuristic sci-fi. No, I'm just kidding. I literally, I do want to say that. Seriously, I'm just messing, Mike. I am not one to judge anyone's opinion on anything. That's for sure. I'll die on the Batman and Robin hill forever. Although I have met other people in real life that like this.
Do you guys like sit in chairs in a circle?
No. You know what they do? They all have in common though. This is actually a pretty easy guess if you think about it for a minute. I know two other people that like Batman and Robin, but you know what they both have in common?
What?
They aren't geeks. They're not into comic books and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So they were judging it from an outsider lens.
Mm-hmm.
I think people like me that enjoyed Batman and Robin from our inside, geek culture perspective are even less likely to like Batman and Robin than outsiders, Yeah.
Because I told you Cora likes the Christopher Nolan Batman series.
Yeah.
And she's interested in the Tim Burton ones because she likes Tim Burton. But I showed her the trailer for the Joel Schumacher and she's just like, no.
Both of them? Well, he did too, right? Or did he just do the one?
Yeah, he did too.
Yeah. She doesn't like it.
No, she's just based on the trailers because she's also watched all the trailers and she's like, no, I don't even want to.
Yeah, they're definitely obviously not the same.
Right.
And incidentally, I've said this before, but I'm just going to remind people. I feel the way everyone feels about Batman and Robin about Batman Forever.
Okay.
I think that is by far the worst Batman.
The worst thing is he did all that on purpose.
Well, what do you mean by the words on purpose? Like
I don't think he meant to make it bad.
Okay, yeah, but that's how he intended it for it to look.
Yeah, it's like he intended it to look the way it looked. And
yeah.
I mean, clunky dialogue, stupid lines. I'm going to talk about a we. Like,
have you seen Batman 66 lately?
That has a certain charm to it.
So does Batman and Robin.
But I was also like 7 when I was watching it. So maybe that's the charm to it. My grandma hated it. My grandmother hated.
Yeah, you've mentioned that. That is a thing, definitely. I love to revisit. I think the last thing that I revisit that I thought was great when I was a kid that's horrible now is one thing that me and you like a lot, Mike, is Phantasm.
Yeah.
But watching it, it does not hold up.
It doesn't hold up.
No.
Yeah.
What else did I want to say about it too? Oh, the other thing I want to say, you know what gets my goat sometimes too with actors that regret making a movie. So like George Clooney, for example, with Batman and Robin, of course. He bashes that movie. It's like, come on, George. Like one, you made the movie, okay? Mm-hmm. 2, I guarantee when the movie was out, you weren't bashing it like that. whether you were being honest or not. And then lastly, there are people that like Batman and Robin. Obviously, I'm not the only example, regardless of whether I'm minimal or not. There are people that like it. So what, George, at least still be tactful about your criticism of making that decision. But I hate the interviews. He's like totally bashing it. Like it was the worst. It's the same thing with, what's his name in Green Lantern. You know, I think if it wasn't for the end of Green Lantern, I think most of Green Lantern was pretty good. But obviously that's the butt of the joke, just like Wolverine, obviously, with him as Deadpool, you know? But it's like defend your creations. Well, maybe not defend isn't the right word. Just, you know, be tactful with the criticisms of your own creations, at least. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But, you know, maybe he never liked it. But yeah, I guess he kind of bit his tongue, and I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
but
for the sake of the fans. Yeah.
He's just being honest.
Right, but just be tactful for the sake of the fans. Don't
be tactful.
Don't act like people that like it are complete morons for liking something you did. You know what I mean? Be like when Xcellar Origins comes out, but 10 years from now, I'm like, man, that sucks so bad. I'm throwing the 100 people that liked it under the bus.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, enough of that. Wait, whose turn is it again? Let me see what's going on here. Let me see.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Looks like.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Sorry, I was reading.
You're just reading your book now? We don't have time for this.
No, I was reading my chicken scratch down here. Okay.
Oh, okay.
I read The Seasons #1, and it's already sold out.
What?
The distributor level. So there's the second print, which the only place I could find the cover was at Comics Heating Up. So shout out to them. And I like the color change, actually. I think it's kind of cool. So I read number one.
How many covers that used to be like the main difference with second prints before. It was so easy to tell, right?
Yeah, they would do a color. Well, yeah, they would do back in the day, Marvel would do like that gold ink.
Yeah.
And then they started doing whole new covers. Then they started doing like taking the interior artwork and make it a cover. And now it's some of them just do a color variation. Yeah, I think sometimes maybe it's just on how fast they want to get the turnaround, because waiting for new artwork is going to take more time than just doing a color variant. So I read, and also, shocker, issue #2 has been sent back for a second print. So it's taken off pretty well. So let's see, it's written by Rick Remender, and it's one of the main reasons that I picked the book up. With maybe Pat can help me out with Paul's last name, Azaceta.
Sure.
Thank you. And colors by Matthias. I want to say Lopez, but it's not a Z. I'm going to say Lopez. Lopez. So the first issue is 44 pages. Okay.
What?
Yeah, and it was, what was it? It was a
$3.99
cover price for 44 pages.
I like that.
Yeah. There's some interior artwork. I love the artwork. Of the 44 pages, 34 of those pages is this base. Okay, let me back up a little bit. It basically is about 3 sisters, and they're the season sisters, and you've got autumn, winter, summer, and spring are their names. And this whole 34 pages is about spring seasons and her pet goldfish, Gilbert, chasing this letter through the city because it like got caught on the wind, and it's just going through the city and all kinds of chaos. Like they're her knocking the cake out. It's just a lot of action. The storytelling is fantastic. You know, just get all that and make it fun to read.
So did you say all their last names are seasons?
No, their last name, they're the Season Sisters. So their last name is Seasons, and their first names are.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, so their names are fall seasons, spring seasons, and winter. Okay.
Yeah. So that's basically the whole, 34 pages is her trying to get that letter. She finally gets the letter, and it's from her sister Autumn, who is out searching for their parents. I don't know, so I don't know where they are, what happened. And in this letter, she's warning of something evil that is coming to the town that they live in. Here's just some more of the chaos that goes through with her trying to get that letter. And this is her sister Autumn writing the letter. The artwork's fantastic. The colors are great. When we see Autumn here, it's kind of dark and moody, but with spring, everything is vibrant and a lot of action going on.
So that was the first thing that struck me is when I saw the artwork. I'm like, boy, he looks very different here than what I know of his artwork. But it appears like he's shifting art styles between the sisters here.
Yeah. Yep. And then
I kind of know him as like a gritty, darker and grittier type artist,
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think this is going to have a lot of vibrant things. I mean, this is the last page of issue 1. So basically, it looks like this evil circus is what's going to be coming to town. The first few pages we get introduced to that circus a little bit, not directly. It's kind of we're bystanders on seeing the circus leave a town. So yeah, it's I really like the variations with the art. I thought I had, I guess I didn't. I had pictures of each of the sisters. Now, issue number 2 isn't as fast paced. It's actually a little boring because all you're getting is an introduction, a little more introduction of each of the sisters. Let's see. So Winter is actually holed up in her room. She's painting, and she doesn't look exactly like the Death character from Sandman, but that's a close correlation. She's got the dark hair, pale skin, more, not as vibrant because it's winter. I think the characters or the daughter or the sisters are taking on the characteristics of the seasons. Summer is on a film set, and she's just really full of herself. She's being pampered and just fawned over, and she's very annoying. I don't like her at all. And then Spring is kind of, she just vibrant and bouncy and all that. And then in issue 2, she's trying to get her other 2 sisters to leave. She's trying to follow Autumn's warning that something evil is coming, and she's trying to get them to leave, but they're kind of not going along with her. So not a lot happened, just introductions to the other sisters. For me, I say this is a get it because it's Remender, and we'll see where it goes. I think it has a lot of potential. Once we get more of that circus, I think some bad stuff is going to come in this, because this isn't normally a comic book about 4 sisters that are the seasons. This isn't my cup of tea. But with that circus, it could be some nefarious things coming in and really add some tension to it. So some creepiness and things like that.
Does it seem like is it like a mystery pretty much at this point?
Yeah, because you also were like Autumn is out looking for their parents. And she has their journal. And it seems like they were, for lack of a better term, kind of Indiana Jones type of people, is what I gather from the journal that Autumn is reading from. So that's the big mystery, where their parents are, and then kind of this evil circus that's coming in. So that's I'd say get it for the Rick Remender. If you're not a fan of Rick Remender, maybe I really don't have an opinion there. I think that's the big draw, is the creative team.
Gotcha.
But also these will be real quick because I read a ton of books. Pop Kill #1. This one is it's about twin brothers that are competing. They own competing soda pop companies, and they go
I think you actually had this in your previous previews, I think, didn't you?
Yeah, they go to great lengths to foil the other one's company. I mean, like murder and hitmen and espionage and all kinds of.
There you go. Okay.
So I thought I had that. Yeah, this is Johnson and Palmiotti are those writers. Santa Cruz is the artist. This one's slow to start as far as really pulling you in. The artwork, it's kind of okay. I wish Dave Johnson had done the artwork. I probably would have liked it a whole lot more. About halfway in, though, I started to enjoy the pacing of the story, and I by the end of it, I was fully invested, and I can't wait for the next issue. At the very, very least, get them for the covers, because the covers are fantastic. This has already gone back to a second printing as well, and this was initially kickstarted. I think it was a 4-issue series, 4 or 5 issues. It was kickstarted, and there are Adam Hughes covers, Dave Johnson covers. Even the Kickstarter went to a second printing, which I don't know how that happens. So great creative team, and I'm definitely going to be getting the next issues. Here's some of the interior artwork. It serves a purpose. It's good. I really would have preferred Dave Johnson art. And finally, a real quick review. Pin-Up Apocalypse. #1, also gone back to a second printing. And this one, we've got awesome artwork. Everything is, I thought I had written down the guy's name. It's funny. It's this girl, her name's Foxy. It's her 18th birthday. This is all set in the 1950s.
I missed you pronouncing this.
Pin-Up Apocalypse.
Right. That was really good, actually. Nice job.
I practiced a bunch. It's her 18th birthday, and the dynamic. I mean, it's hard to describe exactly how the humor works in this, but it does. It's fun. It's very, very funny. She basically goes to try on this dress. That's the red one on issue 1 there that she can't afford. And while she's trying it on, it's kind of like somebody likes a guitar in the pawn shop and they go and visit it all the time, even though they can't afford it. She tries it on, and while she's trying it on, there's this huge explosion outside and the world ends and everybody turns into a zombie. The artwork is fantastic. Some of the face work on her is very J. Scott Campbell like, but that's her little brother. I think it's hilarious how she pushes him in the face, hits him with the car door. It's just cracked me up. And I love really good cars in comics, and there's some more of the artwork there. So this is a get it. It's really funny. The artwork's great, fast paced. It's good. I'm looking forward to more. So I just wanted to do real quick wrap ups on those. Don't want to get on too much.
Yeah, cool.
And
I think those subsequent ones interest me more than the here one you went with, actually.
Yeah, I think you would probably enjoy them more. The humor in this one, it's kind of exaggerated stereotypes. It's set in the 50s, so it's got that Leave It to Beaver kind of feel, but they exaggerate the stereotypes where they're aware of the woman in the kitchen cooking all the time, because like her mom is like, well, I'm just gonna, I'm gonna look forward to staying home and cooking all day and this and that. And it's very funny. And Foxy, the girl's boyfriend, he's
so it's kind of satirically stereotyping, kind of.
What's that?
So it's kind of satirically stereotyping.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Good way to put it. So out of the 3, it was probably my favorite title, the one I had the most fun reading.
Okay, cool.
So there you go.
All right. I meant to mention when you were mentioning the pop kills.
Mhm.
Did you guys happen to see the Seinfeld put out a movie? I think it was last year. I didn't review it because it's a comedy. It's called Frosted.
Yeah, about Pop-Tarts or something like that.
Yeah, it's about Kellogg's and Post trying to come up with the next big, breakfast treat or whatever. And it's a comedy, but it puts you in mind. It's kind of the polar opposite of Pop Kills, I guess. Then Pop Kills sounds very serious and dangerous, nefarious.
Yes.
Frosted is very lighthearted, comedic. Them fighting. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it was fun. It was okay. It wasn't the greatest, but it was. I'm a big Seinfeld fan, so it was pretty funny, but nothing great.
Pop Kills is not for. I would say it's 18 and above.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah. All right, Pat.
All right. What I read, let's see. We have Ultimate Spider-Man 14 by Jonathan Hickman and Marco Cicchetto. And
14. Are these coming out faster than monthly?
No.
No?
Seems like it. It must be just be the timing of my shipments or something. But I'm not going to talk about this very much. I just wanted to once again must have. It's so good, loving it. I feel like I'm on that Daredevil train where I'm pumping it up so much that people are going to be let down. And I will give that caveat: when you first start Ultimate Spider-Man, it takes a while to get going. There is a ton of dialogue, Jonathan Hickman style. And if that's not your thing, I can see where that would turn some people off, but hang with it. It's starting to really pay off. And these last couple issues have been just amazing, even though this is Ultimate. So I've talked about it enough. I wanted to spotlight something else that I got caught up on reading in between these last shows we've had, and that's Geiger. And to just give you a little background, the first volume, I guess you would call it the first volume of Geiger, came out in 2021. It was 6 issues. Then there was a 80-page giant in 2022. And then we get to this, Ground Zero. And I got them out of order. Doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. But this came out in 2023. This basically, by the way, this is primarily, this is a creation of Jeff Johns and Gary Frank. And this Ground Zero miniseries was basically meant to flesh out Geiger's origin story a little bit more. We kind of already knew most of it, but this gives you some more detail. Then after this wrapped up, in the meantime, they're gathering steam on this whole Ghost Machine imprint on their Image and adding more titles to the mix, making it a universe of its own. And I think that's kind of maybe why that like sort of the stops and starts.
Why is that even necessary with Image? I mean, it's like every title's like different universe. It's not like Marvel, where they're all connected. Every title's different anyway. Why do they need an imprint? You know what I mean? Right?
Yes and no. Well, it's like your example, your Energon universe. I mean, they're all one universe, and the Ghost Machine is sort of all one universe. Everybody's got their own little corners.
Okay.
The Image banner.
Okay, gotcha.
I'll tell you right off the bat, this is a good series. It's well written, but not spectacularly written. Jeff Johns, I feel like it gives it sort of like a B movie flavor. They're sort of like a little bit of a throwback feel to it. But they're well written, just not. It's nothing. The writing is not knocking my socks off. Let's put it that way. The artwork, on the other hand, Gary Frank's artwork is amazing as ever. The design of the Geiger character is just plain awesome. He comes across incredibly well on the comic page, He's just visually stunning, in my opinion. Just a great design. We won't get into too much of the details of all of these books, but basically I had to get caught up. So I read the current series, which started in 2024. I read 1 through 11.
Wow.
Of the current series.
That's a good sign that you could even, read through 11 books like that. Yeah.
It's a good sign, but it also, I will say there's a little bit of, it's easy. It's an easy read. There's not a lot going on a lot of the times.
Okay.
You can just plow through these very quickly. Because it's sort of a simple story, basically, if you don't know anything about Geiger, his name was Tariq Geiger. He was a man. He had a wife and 2 children, and he had cancer, and he was going through chemotherapy. When the unknown war started, nobody knows how it started, but basically nuclear war, and because of that, what he was going through, he gained these superpowers. He met up with a scientist along the way that helps him control his powers.
That's got to be a play on words with not only being his name, but Geiger counter, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Oh man, that's awesome.
They, you see the wanted poster on number 2 there. They kind of refer to him as the glowing man. They don't call him Geiger. That's his real last name, of course, but everybody calls him the glowing man. And basically everyone's out to get him because he semi spoiler. I mean, this was from the first series, but the deal was they potentially knew this war. He built a fallout bunker because he felt like something might go down. He got his family into it. He didn't make it in. And all this time, all these intervening years, he was waiting to hopefully let them back out. He wouldn't let anybody in, anybody out. He just suffered the consequences and these new powers he gained, or whatever you want to call them. But then he comes to find out that his family died very early on, and they've been dead inside this bunker the whole time. So, your typical tragic hero story, but so, a lot of it's told in flashbacks to thinking about his family, fills in bits and pieces of his story, but he's very bitter. He's a very bitter character, but he's slowly becoming softened because of the people he meets along the way, good and bad. I mean, he's basically sticks up for the underdogs, because there's like this hierarchy that's emerged in the post-apocalypse, especially out of Las Vegas. There was a king and queen. Geiger actually killed the king, so now it's just the queen, but she has sort of like a crime family around her, almost cartoonish crime family, very exaggerated, very, I guess, Las Vegas style crime family. And they generally have some weird oddity about them, or a power about them, obviously to create sort of the villains to go up against the Geiger character in the book. So plus anytime someone's being oppressed, like especially children, because he thinks back to his kids, he protects the kids. Along the way, there's a group out of Vegas called the Nuclear Knights. One of them actually had with Geiger, but it sort of changed his life, and he wants to turn his life around. So he's actually kind of become Geiger's sidekick. His name's Nate the Nuclear Knight. In addition to, Geiger also has his pet 2-headed wolf named Barney that you can see on number 6 there, I think.
I thought that's a 2-headed wolf. Nice.
Yeah, he's a 2-headed wolf.
I thought it was 2 wolves.
And then even Nate the Nuclear Knight, he actually got a sidekick in the form of Zigzag the zebra there on number 7.
My God, these sound like names I came up with.
See, that's what I mean. It's got that sort of B-movie feeling, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can see, I don't know if you can really tell from the cover there, but Zigzag has a third eye in the middle of his forehead.
Oh no, yeah, I just zoomed in on it.
Yeah, a lot of the animals have mutated in the intervening years. So
nice.
Yeah. So where we answered, basically about, I'd say about 4 or 5 issues in here, we find out, I think through Nate, as a matter of fact, that there's somebody else like Geiger out there that has very similar powers, that, you know, something very similar happened to them, but they've been cured, or potentially can control their powers. So that sort of sets them on this quest to get to whoever this person is, to try to find a way to cure the glowing man.
I know who it is.
You
I've
do.
never read it.
You do know who it is. You probably do. How do you know?
Well, I'm guessing because of the conversation we had before the show.
That hasn't happened, Kevin. What are you talking about?
Okay.
That conversation hasn't taken place yet. Are you a fortune teller?
Yeah.
But
Was
you're
that a
right.
spin-off? Sorry.
Not
What'd you
yet.
say, Mike?
Was that a
Junkyard.
spin-off?
Well, Junkyard Joe, I guess, is a spinoff of Geiger. He comes back in this volume yet again. But that's the other thing too, because not only are the weirdos out of Las Vegas after Geiger, but the government, the newly established government, is also after Geiger. Maybe potentially as to use him as a weapon. We don't really know for sure. And of course, the president is clad. He wears a suit, but he's clad. Everything else about him is all bandaged up, and he wears glasses. So, you know, typically, you know, it goes right along with everything else in this book. But the president has also wrangled the inventor, the creator / inventor of Junkyard Joe, and he's constantly, this is not his first encounter trying to get control back of Junkyard Joe. Junkyard Joe keeps fighting his programming. We found that out he had a limited series, but he keeps rebelling against his programming because of his time with the soldiers in Vietnam. So basically, that's what this volume has been setting up, is their quest to find this other person. And in number 10, you know, they a matter of fact, they encounter Junkyard Joe, but they also get to, I can't remember the town they were trying to get to, but they get there eventually, and they find the person who also has the similar powers. And I think I have number 12, which I do not have yet, and I was not able to read. But she's actually, a spoiler alert, it turns out it's a female. She's revealed at the end of issue 10, and she's also in number 11. Her name's Ash Arden. She's the glowing woman. She's a great design as well. She's like just so well designed from Gary Frank. She looks great. I don't believe she's been featured in the book Powered Up yet, but I'm sure she's very similar to Geiger. But basically, you know, she also had an encounter with the scientist that tried to help Geiger control his powers and made him the containment suit. Geiger and that scientist had a falling out. I think it was shown in the Ground Zero limited series, and he eventually migrated to the city where Ash Arden is and helped her as well. But he was able to actually help her even further, where so when Geiger he has 2 boron control rods in the back of his outfit, and when he pulls those out, that's when his full powers are unleashed. Ash, the glowing woman, it has shown that she can actually pull her rods out and control her powers. So far is what it has demonstrated. You know, her eyes glow green, I think, but she doesn't ultimately just blow up like Geiger does, like is shown on all these covers here. So that's, like I said, we kind of got the voyage. We kind of get the softening of Geiger, because he's picking up more people along the way, and more encounters, and becoming more, he doesn't have more empathy, because I guess he's always had that, but he's realizing that his family is gone and solving his own problems, but he can also help people along the way. But he's still very bitter because Ash Arden has problems with him. She's like, all you have to do is I'll show you how we can accomplish this. But he's like, I don't. He's really very, very grumpy and set in his ways, I guess. But so bottom line, the stories are fine. Has sort of that B movie feeling. The art is fantastic. There were three fill-in issues. I think it was maybe 6, 7, and 8, which I was kind of surprised. I would prefer Gary Frank to be on all the art chores. The fill-in was Paul Pelletier. I mean, he's very well known. He was a well-established Marvel and DC artist. But I feel like maybe he's not. I don't know if I say he's lost a step, but he doesn't remind me exactly of the Paul Pelletier of like the mid to late 90s. He's very serviceable. I mean, it's not bad artwork. It's just when you're used to seeing Gary Frank every issue, it sort of hits you in the face. This isn't Gary Frank here, you know. So I would say, I would say it's a get it. It's just not blowing me out of the water. I think it's very accessible. The artwork is certainly very accessible. I don't see people not liking the artwork. So I have no qualms giving it a get it. One thing I did want to point out was the number 7. I had a different cover for number 7. I brought this up on a private group. Why my number 7 looked different, and it turned out it was a retailer incentive cover. And then I was looking at it again, and I'm like, this cover looks so familiar. And it was basically Gary Frank homaging himself from Midnight Nation number 1. That's why the Starburst was around the number 7, why they sort of set up the corner box the same way. So I thought that was kind of neat.
Yeah, cool.
That's the actual number 7 that I have right there. I don't have the zigzag zebra cover.
Yeah, why would
order
you
that one on purpose?
Yeah, I did not, and that's kind of what I was commenting on. Was back in the good old days, I guess, quote unquote, the good old days. DCBS would just send you alternate variant covers. Wow. You know, if they were ratioed, you know, you weren't able to order them outright back then.
Ooh, so man, I'd be angry.
Yeah, so you get them, so they get them, and they just give them out randomly to customers. Hardly, this is the first time it probably has happened in 5 years or 5 or 6 years that I got something along these lines. Unless it is a mistake, I don't think it is, but could be. So yeah, that's Geiger. Looking forward to number 12 with the glowing woman, Ashley Arden, and get it.
Yep. Now you tell me.
Is Mike the one that put Geiger even on your radar, Pat?
I don't remember.
I
can't imagine with that creative team. I know Pat's a big Gary Frank fan, so he would have come across it with that creative team and everything.
Oh, I thought I only know about Geiger from you. So
yeah, from the first series.
Yeah.
You know what I like? I love how they put the checkerboard at the top of the. Was it Ghost Machine or Mad Ghost? I can't remember which one.
Ghost Machine, yeah.
I like how they put and I think it's on all of their books.
It is. It's weird. It predates when they started calling themselves Ghost Machine, so I'm not sure why they did it initially. So
yeah, I think Mad Ghost was what the imprint initially was.
Oh, okay.
Because that harkens back like DC used to do the checkerboard on top, and I like it because when you're looking through, that just stands out.
Yeah, yeah,
so, I'm a big fan.
Awesome. I think this might be the first show we're all doing image books today. Well, Pat did Ultimate Spider-Man 2, technically.
I did a massive book, but we all have an image book in our.
Oh yeah. Oh, that Seasons was massive.
No, pin up apocalypse.
Just wanted to hear you say it again.
All right, cool. I jumped into the Energon verse. Well, I guess this isn't my jump in. Well, I guess you could call Duke I tickled the get into the water with.
Yeah, this one you jumped in with both feet before you're just testing the water.
Yeah, exactly. So trying to remember what I shouldn't mention right now. Anyway, the story with this G.I. Joe series is I stopped by a local comic store just to grab some bags and boards. This really wasn't on my radar too much. I've been getting the G.I. Joe Real American Hero series.
You should save this story for tomorrow. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead. I didn't mean it. I interrupted you for a bad joke. A bad inside joke.
Yeah, bad inside joke, right?
Sorry.
So, it was kind of strange too, talking to the owner. G.I. Joe, this G.I. Joe, and G.I. Joe Real American Hero were right beside each other. I'm like, wait, what? How is G.I. Joe number 1, 2, and 3 here? And G.I. Joe Real American Heroes on 361. What's the deal? And I had completely forgot about the Energon universe. Past few months, I've been intentionally just getting books from my pull box due to, financial reasons. So I totally missed this coming out. This is actually on, I believe it's issue 8. Issue 7 is what's currently out. I picked up issues 1 through 3. And I read for this review issue number 1 and issue number 2. And this is by Joshua Williamson and Tom Riley. And when were, Pat, I don't know whether you left or you're just...
No, I'm still here.
Okay. When were we talking about the Baroness? What was she on that we talked about? I guess she's a good guy now.
Yeah, we're just talking about that. I think, was it toy related maybe? I don't remember. Or was it a cover? I don't know.
I think it might have been a cover from pick 3. And then
yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. So I can answer that question now, having read issues 1 and 2 of the new G.I. Joe, newish G.I. Joe series that it's set in the Energon universe. So that's the first thing, is the G.I. Joe Real American Hero and this G.I. Joe have nothing to do with each other. Completely different universes. Because this G.I. Joe plays in the hands of everything that's currently Void Rivals and Transformers. Mike, did you say, I know you said you have a lot of Void Rivals and stuff, but did you bail on reading it, or you mean to get back to it, or what?
I stopped reading it months before I stopped getting it. And it was good. It was just, I ran out of time. And
so you're not getting it anymore either. Okay.
No, I'm not. If you're interested in them, yeah, I can definitely get them into your possession.
Well, I appreciate that, but what I was hoping for is you'd read them, so then we could compare notes with what I read from G.I. Joe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got up to issue 11, so it's a lot.
And then I was gonna ask Pat to read Transformers, so then we can have the whole interlock. Because I shouldn't say obviously, but it definitely seems to be all interconnected. Although I wasn't feeling any of that reading the first 2 issues. First of all, and I should have got a picture rather than showing this in real life like this, but this is actually a wraparound where you can see the cover I have there on the screen, but then the back, which does connect, is all the bad guys. And as we noted, Baroness is on the good guy side. So the first thing with this G.I. Joe is they don't even know about Cobra yet. This is pre-Cobra G.I. Joe. And although Baroness used to be an assassin of some type, one of the Joes appreciates her skills and abilities and thinks she's trustworthy enough to utilize her as a Joe. So, in fact, the Baroness is a Joe, but she has history with being this assassin, you know. So it's complicated. It's like she's on the team, but nobody likes her and is just talking bad about her. But she does some heroic things to even save some Joes in these couple issues here. So she's an anti-hero, I guess, the simplest way to explain it. All the other Joes are straight edge, military good guys and girls. Baroness is complex anti-hero in the middle of the team, basically. And the first issue is basically an introduction. I was thinking about this when you were talking about seasons as well, Mike, that issue number 1 was kind of actiony, felt like it had some exciting points to it, but then you said issue 2 was introducing all the seasons and the characters and stuff. So this is more of a typical, all of the major players so far that you know about that exist in G.I. Joe are introduced in issue 1. And especially they need, even any that you may be familiar with, they're basically reintroduced for anybody that's not familiar with any G.I. Joe characters, including Duke, So then issue 2, we kind of get in the story, and basically the Transformers are still kind of a mystery to the Joes at this point too, but a piece of one of the Transformers upon entry was separated from it and kind of landed in the middle of the ocean. Well, I actually don't know whether the piece is a Transformer or the piece is a part of the ship because I'm not reading Transformers. Pat, I need to know. Okay. So, but anyway, a piece of whatever it was lands in the middle of the ocean, and the Cobra is after the technology that they can get from this piece of a Transformer, and the Joes are just trying to make sure that Cobra doesn't, but like I said, they're not aware of Cobra yet. They just know there's bad guys that are after it, so they're just, and the way they kind of make it so they don't know what Cobra is yet, the guys they send after getting Energon or whatever they need technology from this Transformer piece don't really look like your typical Cobra players. They look kind of similar, but they're definitely different than what you would typically know about the Cobra troops, I guess. But anyway, so G.I. Joe is sent to make sure no one gets this piece of the Transformer, and of course the Cobras try to come get it, and battle ensues. And there's actually a pretty epic part at the end of issue 1 that's a really good kind of cliffhanger. Of course, that wasn't a cliffhanger for me. I just opened the next page, which is the first page of issue 2. And essentially they're still in the same fight that I described from issue 1. But in this issue, it ends, and they basically got their butt kicked. It was really kind of reminiscent of like Infinity War. Like they just lost big. They lost their piece of the Transformer. They actually got a hold of one of the weapons that Cobra had. That was they are ahead in the Energon curve. So it's kind of a clue to them as to what these bad guys that they don't know are Cobra yet are trying to do with the technology they are able to get from the Transformer piece. And basically by the end of issue 2, they are just all kind of licking their wounds and recovering, and then a couple new characters are introduced to team up with them, and now they got to head back out. Now they got to go get the piece that Cobra already has. And that's where issue 2 ends. I'm enjoying this a lot. The art is great. I mean, everything you see on the covers here is exactly what it looks like in the interiors. And the writing's really well done. It was really fluid to me, and totally clear as to who was speaking and who they're speaking to and stuff. I thought it was a real easy read, which, especially when it's got action-packed pictures expressing the action really well. When you got an easy read to go along with it, this is a super fun book for me. So definitely a must-have if you're a Joe fan. Unless you're a Joe purist, I was thinking about this during it. I'm not a Joe purist. I like G.I. Joe. But I could see a G.I. Joe purist maybe being annoyed by this G.I. Joe Energon universe kind of reboot collab, kind of thing, so if you're down for stuff like that, I definitely think this is a must-have, totally quality. If you're not a big Joe fan, especially if you're not a big kind of military centric comic book fan, this would probably be a pass for you, but this is this typical G.I. Joe stuff, and I want more. I actually bought issue 3 as well, like I mentioned, but I didn't get around to reading that one because I actually read Silverhawks first, which was good but pretty simple. So I felt G.I. Joe would be a better review. So
yeah, I think just I don't pay a lot of attention to the G.I. Joe universe or the fans or what their thoughts are, but I think that with the state of G.I. Joe at IDW, I think the fans were grateful and happy that it's now under Kirkman's watch. And I think for the most part, I think they were happy with a lot of the direction and stuff. Because I didn't think it was based on just how dissatisfied they were with the direction that Joe had taken recently with IDW.
So Image is the only one producing G.I. Joe now, though, right?
Correct. As far as I know, yeah.
Even the Real American Hero is Image as well, right? Yeah. Okay.
That's what IDW completely lost the license.
Well, I love how they just continued the numbering, right?
Yeah, I thought they were, and this is where my misunderstanding was. When I saw this G.I. Joe series, I thought that, okay, they just stopped the numbering that they continued from Marvel, and now they're going to start their own number one. But it seems like, so they're still continuing the Marvel numbering, and this is a spinoff. Kind
of Image's own, with the Energon universe,
Right, because the other one isn't in Energon, but this one is.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. It makes sense.
Yeah. Pat, are you serious about reading Transformers?
I'd like to, but it's not on my list or high on my list, I guess, right at the moment. So,
can you change it, please?
Sure.
Thanks. Okay. Have you been getting them at least?
No,
you just haven't read them yet?
No.
Well, they're not that deep in, and they're still out there. That's the biggest thing that surprised me about this being on number 8 is that 1, 2, and 3 were still right there. You know what I mean? So, on the new release wall, so.
But no Transformers. They're probably up to a 14th, 15th printing on that number 1.
Yeah.
Number 2, they're reprinting the daylights out of it.
Is that right?
Yeah. Every time I look, there's a new printing.
Huh. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Classic stuff that's being treated well will make you a lot of money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who's the Joe in the suit? Do you know?
I can't think of his name specifically.
Okay. Just curious. I could probably name everybody else, but I don't know who he is.
Yeah, he's like he's one of the new characters that they introduced at the end of 2 when they're getting a new team together to go get the piece back, so. But you could name all those characters?
I think so. Yeah.
Wow. Looks
like Rock and Roll, Breaker, Duke, Cover Girl, Stalker, Baroness.
Nice. Yes, very nice. That was perfect. Yeah, there's a big they're doing a good job too with I'd also at the end of 2 there's a big kind of a twist surprise that I totally wasn't expecting. They totally sold me on something, then but in issue 1, the end of issue 2, I was just like, "What?" And it was cool. That's part of what you're looking for, right? So.
Yeah.
Yeah, March the 11th printing of number 1 came out for Transformers.
Wow. All right.
Crazy.
All right, awesome. So a bunch of good get-its.
Mm-hmm.
plenty of advice to read with what we showed today, but then also, got preview tomorrow. There's going to be plenty for people to get. They're not going to want for nothing. Right, Mike?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Speaking of more things to want, are you ready?
There's a lot more to want. Just hold on to your hats.
All right, cool. Pat, that was such a great lead in too. And you've got your thing. Although I was thinking, man, you said hold on to your hats. You sounded like the Thing a little bit, but then also too, the other Thing picture you had, what happened?
Sorry, I switched over. That must have been the last setup we had when we were doing.
My name is Mike.
Anyway, the Fantastic Four from Rivals pick you had, he's wearing a hat. So I was thinking, oh, that'd been perfect with wearing a hat. Hold on to your hats, because you changed it, right? You went back to the old one.
I did, yeah.
All right. Anyway, what we got?
First up, we're gonna visit our good friend Baethir the dragon, because all the details have come out on this ridiculousness. We had sort of the dimensions. The one thing that was not entirely clear when I last talked about this, and I don't think it was disclosed quite clearly enough, is that the fire breath and the fire breathing head are add-ons.
What?
Yes, I agree.
I'm out now. I was going to get it, but no, I didn't.
Cancel.
So there you kind of see their the setup. They need 2,000 to even make anything, but then once they start hitting these tiers, things will unlock, and you'll get it along with the price of the dragon himself. So you'll get the champion, his upgrades, and then a skeleton figure, then his upgrades. Excuse me. Then we'll kind of show you what that entails.
So they haven't even hit 2,000 yet?
No. As a matter of fact, yesterday, it's only 1 week in. It was 1 week yesterday, I believe. And they are at 58% of their goal. They have 1,155 orders.
No.
1 week into the month campaign. So
that's pretty good, huh? Yeah, okay.
Pretty good. But you'll see some things that aren't so good coming up. So here's Sir Benegar. Like I said, he's unlocked at 2,500 units. You automatically get this figure, no extra cost. Then if they hit 3,000, you get his upgrade stuff. The extra head and all the cape and all that stuff.
That's so cool. I think I might have to order this just to help this get along so I can get this guy.
And then to a lesser extent, the Ashen Skeleton unlocks at 3,500 units. And then if they get to 4,000 units, you get the extra heads and the shield and stuff like that for the skeleton.
Okay, so just to remind everybody who's watching this is all just a toy universe. This is no other backup anywhere, lore of any type, anything, right? This is just this line of toys, right?
Correct. This is Four Horsemen's Mythic Legions line.
Man, I want to know this guy's story. Don't you, Mike?
Yeah, sorry, I was eating my popcorn. I tell you, I hate popcorn.
Man, you only got the popcorn. I wanted some popcorn yesterday, and I stole them without my popcorn.
Because Sir Bertha Grimm, or whatever his name was, he's got a dragon head shield. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, Sir Benegar. Yep.
He'd be a great fighter for that drag. I'd like to see that dragon shield together with the other dragon's head. Like, are they identical? Like, is this a brother? That's what I'm going to write the Four Horsemen story.
Yeah.
You know,
Anyway.
I'm surprised that hasn't, I'm surprised they haven't done like a comic book or a show or something. I'm sure
Yeah.
they'd like to, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's where it gets a little might get you a little smoke and fire come out of your nostrils. There are 2 add-on packages, and they are $150 each. And the
Wow.
first one is the Fiery Breath add-on set. Okay.
Okay.
So
You may not know this, Pat, but I can't help but ask. Is that Sir Beargrin again?
it is not. It is
Okay.
not.
Yeah, that'd be at the end of his story. He would make it to issue 2.
Right.
I think we have his name actually coming up here. We'll see.
Okay. Okay.
So basically, these are separate add-ons, and you can see there they have to get 1,000 units just to have these add-on sets go into production as well. So
1,000 units of just the add-on as
correct.
well.
Exactly.
Yeah, this seems kind of nutty. Okay.
Yeah. And there are also tiers for the add-ons. So if you hit 25 or 1250 units, you get the upgrade set to the Burning Knight. That's his name, Kevin. The Burning Knight.
Okay. All right. My next question is this guy's alive? Like, is he a fight? Like the other picture gave me the impression that the dragon just lit him a flame to kill him. This picture gives me the impression is he's like Ghost Rider. He's like a fire knight. You know what I'm saying, Mike? Yeah. Mike's trying to just eat.
No, I'm just wondering, is this some kind of money laundering scheme? Because these seem unobtainable at the prices they're asking.
Well, okay, my next question, Pat, is are these even available to buy? Because why would you even buy any of these 2 extras if they don't even happen until after the 2000 is hit, right? So these aren't even available yet, right? How's that work?
No, they're add-on sets. They're concurrently crowdfunding the 2 add-on sets as well. But the add-on sets won't go into production unless they hit the goal of 1,000 units. So if you follow, if I'm explaining correctly too.
Yeah, I think I'm tracking. So here's did you say how much the main dragon was again this show?
I didn't today. He's $550.
Okay, so you have to agree to fund $550. 2,000 people have to agree to fund $550 for the dragon.
Yes.
And then aside from that, an additional 1,000 people have to agree to also pay the $150 to get this head and burning the burning.
Exactly. And you would assume most of them would be the same people because they want the add-ons for their dragon, right?
Yeah, that's my first thought is why wouldn't they just have these all together and try to make the whole thing for, I mean, obviously this isn't chump change, but $550, if you're willing to spend $550 on a dragon like this, you'd think you'd be willing to spend $700 for if it included the head and the knight too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's my thought. If I had that kind of money to blow.
Sure, but don't forget there's one additional add-on set. That is the Epic Wings add-on set.
Okay. Okay.
So again, they have to hit 1,000 units on this at $150, and you'll get the wings and the Ashen Zombie. And he also has the stretch goal of
holy macaroni, man.
The upgrade set. If they get to 1250, you'll get the extra heads and shield and sword and stuff for the Ashen Zombie. So altogether, with shipping, which is also not going to be cheap, you're at almost $1,000 for this dragon if you want to be all in and get everything. So
wow.
And again, he's gigantic. There he is with this he isn't shown here with all the new stuff. He's kind of shown to scale with some of the other things that they've already produced in their Mythic Legions line, but massive piece, massive price. But
So I go to fourhorsemen.com and then click on the Mythic Legion link. Is that where they are like that?
yep.
I think it'll fund. I think it'll all go through.
Yeah, since it's halfway already, 1 weekend, over halfway, I'd say for sure. Did they? Yeah, they did give percentages on the add-ons too. So the Fiery Breath is 81% funded,
That's ironic. That's crazy.
and the Epic Wings is 66%.
Wow, I would have figured both of the add-ons would be behind the main stretch goal, you know?
Yeah. So we'll now that everything is been presented here, I don't believe there's going to be anything else added on here. So now that's out of the way, I'll try to keep you posted on how things are going as we get closer to the end of the campaign to see if they meet their goals. So moving on from Baethir, this is kind of the main thrust of everything I'm showing here. Is while we were recording the last show, the New York Toy Fair was happening, and that really sort of hadn't been a thing for maybe the last 3 or 4, 5 years. I think all because it started in the pandemic years. That they weren't really doing a toy show. Well, they couldn't, I guess, and then they were kind of leaving it up to the individuals like Hasbro doing their own live streams and so forth. But this year Toy Fair seems to be back, baby. It's they showed a ton of new stuff coming out of Toy Fair.
Oh, nice.
And so some of this is Toy Fair and some of it's sort of Toy Fair post Toy Fair that they've kind of refined some of the stuff that they showed at Toy Fair in more marketing presentable pictures, I guess you say. So we're going to run through a lot of stuff here. Just slow me down if you want to talk more about it, but we got a lot to go through. Okay. Starting with Hasbro, G.I. Joe Classified, we have Snake Eyes and a polar bear set. This is based on one of the episodes of the anime series. I think it was the initial mini series episodes where they were dealing with the mass device. They were kind of see an action shot.
Is that a Coca-Cola in there?
That's part of the mass device. It could be.
You get the polar bear reference though, Pat?
Oh yeah. Okay. I didn't, but now I do.
Jokes are always better when they're explained.
Exactly. Yeah. We prove that each and every show here.
We do.
It seems like, at first I don't quite remember this episode. I don't know if this is the pictures here depicting canon from the episode, but once foes, maybe friends at the end here, because
very cool. Very cool.
This is a $65 deluxe set from Hasbro. No packaging is shown yet, but I think I saw it was window box packaging. They've kind of gone away from the cardboard box. Next up from Hasbro, we have Born Again Daredevil, to get it out there while the show is going on. And a lot of these, keep in mind also, because of the number of photos, I don't have multiple photos. So you just kind of have to, if you're interested, try to look up some more info. If you want to order these guys, I feel like they're probably fast tracking. I'm sure they had a lot of the base parts because they did a Daredevil Netflix figure before, so they just had to tweak what they had probably and re-release them. They also showed an X-Force Archangel. He is Daredevil's 25, the typical Marvel Legends price these days. Archangel's deluxe because he's got the huge wings. I suppose they can charge you some extra. He's 40. And then we're gonna spend a lot of time with Mr. Todd McFarlane, and we'll stick with Marvel first. Some of his posed figures. Here's some 1/6. These are the bigger. These are the bigger figures. I think they retail around 40 or 50, 45, 50. The 1/6 Deadpool, which is based, it looks like a Dave Johnson cover, I believe. if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm getting the Dave Johnson coming through in the pick, but it's hard to tell from a lot of these picks. We'll see that coming up with another one I'm going to talk about.
Real quick. Now,
Yeah.
I think this might be one of the hiccups that people are having with Marvel. I don't know if you guys follow Dustin Nguyen. He's been going off on Marvel.
Yeah.
Like they used the Dave Johnson cover to make an action figure. Did Dave Johnson get any royalties for that action figure?
Yeah, probably not.
Probably not. Sorry. It's just on my mind.
Yeah, I mean, that's valid because that's what he's doing with all of these. They're based off, the cover artwork. So,
right. Come on, Todd. Of all people.
Right. There's that
especially with the way the world is today. I mean, all you got to do is treat people right, and you're just you're gonna go viral. I mean,
yeah.
It seems so more. It's such a typical thing for people not to do the right thing. It seems that when the right thing is done, it just spreads like wildfire. And that'll help your obviously marketing. So yeah.
Yeah. Then we have Iron Man. I think this is a John Romita, Bob Layton cover. I remember I always liked this cover.
I don't like the shade. I don't know if it works as a figure or as a statue or whatever, though.
I feel like it's a little too yellow, bright yellow. Yeah. Even the artwork I think comes across as more like a shiny armor look than the toy actually shows.
Right. It's like flat. Yeah. It should be shinier. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we always, I've talked about it many times, the nitpicks I have about how they're doing these when they literally have to translate the inking right to the actual figure paint job itself. And I'm not a huge fan of that.
Yeah, so. Me neither. Although it's worked a couple times for me with the X-Men 97 ones, but
yeah. Stay tuned. Well, not then we have a Venom. This one's very hard. I should have tried to track down a better picture. Even the cover that it's based on, I'm not really sure what that is. But yeah, another Venom. Then we'll go to the 1/10 scale, which is a smaller size, which I think retail for around 30, 35. And there we have, continuing that, the X-Men #1 covers. We have Beast.
Man, I would love to have all those and have them up beside each other. That'd be so cool.
Yeah. Then we have Black Panther. Seems like a familiar pose, but that cover is not, burned into my memory.
Yeah, me neither.
Marvel Knights issue 4. I'm looking. The cover looks like Jay Lee kind of.
It could be. Yeah, it could be.
Marvel Knights issue 4.
Then we have Carnage from Amazing Spider-Man. And then the one that intrigues me most, but could potentially leave me most disappointed, is the Thing from this Jim Chung Fantastic Four variant cover. I just don't know yet. I haven't seen enough good shots of it to determine if this would be a purchase for me.
And can you go back to the Carnage real quick?
Yep.
So I feel like that doesn't exactly work right without, like, why wouldn't they just put a Spidey with that or something?
Yeah, that's happened a couple times with this series where he's picking and choosing certain characters from a cover, and it seems kind of weird,
Yeah. All
right, Marvel Knights Volume 3, Issue 4. Yeah, it's an incentive variant by Jay Lee.
Okay.
Good call.
Yeah, like I said, it's a very Black Panther pose.
Yeah.
Black Panther-y pose, but the cover just wasn't ringing a bell for me. Before we dive into the DC McFarlane stuff, we have sort of a one-off here. He's doing a Berserker figure. This is a $50 deluxe figure, as you'll see, because he has this entire armory with him.
Wow.
And alternate arms, alternate heads. Don't know enough about the comic. I did not read it, but it looks like Berserker goes through some hell here. I don't know.
You said you read issue 1, right, Mike?
Yeah, I think he's immortal.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, I would check out. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're working on live action.
I wonder who will play Berserker.
I don't know. I've been
Well, I've actually seen some shorts. I didn't know exactly what was going on, obviously, until now. But yeah, with Keanu and Todd out there together. Yeah.
I see. I didn't see those. Yeah, but obviously this is the reason why.
Yeah.
Did I say the price? So, yeah, $50. Yeah, it's kind of steep. But again, packed with a lot of stuff. And maybe it's going back to when we talked about the Joker figure. I don't know. Maybe it's the cost of doing business with famous actors. I don't know.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff from Toy Fair here in sort of Todd's live streams. The first one's not very exciting, but I figured I'd show it anyway, and that's Alfred. Yeah, I don't know.
Some of those glasses.
Yeah, that looks like
goggles.
is that the Jeremy Irons?
Yes.
Alfred. Yeah, I'm not a fan of him as Alfred. Even Cora wasn't. When Cora saw him, she's like, "That's not Alfred." I like Jeremy Irons. I just don't like him as Alfred.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And we're gonna hit some Batmans that I'm just not familiar with. Maybe you guys are. I'm sure they're out there, but that's Batman 1,000,000.
Yeah, I remember those lines. The 1,000,000 books from DC. I never read them.
Okay, there's one for you, Mike. How about Cowboy Batman?
No, I don't remember that.
Remember, folks, Todd is losing the DC license, so
He's like pulling out all the stuff. It's like, you know
yeah.
what? Empty the closet. Everything that I said no to, bring it out.
It just dawned on me looking at that picture. There's something wonky about that torso pelvis area. It just looks like it's setting too low or something.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is
Like
weird.
it's a sculpt from a different figure.
And I don't know what this code is either. It kind of puts you in mind of like, the old Star Wars Obi-Wan, robes, or Darth Vader, those old plasticky,
Yeah.
Kind of cool hat.
I want to see what's under that. Can he take his hat off?
Yeah,
When he takes his hat off, is it a normal Batman cowl or what?
they fold back.
It should have 2 little holes.
Yeah.
Look even goofier.
Really? Could it get goofier, Kevin? I don't know.
Uh,
I suppose it could. A perfectly fine looking Dr. Fate. I mean,
yeah.
Then we have a 2-pack Grim Bat and Killer Croc. I don't know who the Grim Bat is. There's from the Batman perspective, and there's from the Killer Croc perspective.
Looks pretty cool. Those look pretty good. Yeah.
A Hawkwoman, a rare female figure from Todd. Getting her out in time, I guess, because of the Superman movie. She's going to be in the Superman movie, maybe.
The mask looks a little wonky.
It does look a little weird. Don't just because he's busy making Cowboy Batman, don't think he's forgotten about Jokerized. We have Dark Metal Batman Joker.
No.
I think Grimbat might be from Dark Metal, from that metal thing.
Okay.
That's just Todd and I are gonna fist fight.
Who's buying that for real?
I mean, if you're all in on the Jokerized figures, I guess you are. I
was talking about all the Jokerized line. I'm not talking about just this one.
That's what I mean. He got them hooked with that first one, and they had to keep buying every single one he's Jokerized.
I just know somebody's birthday's coming up.
Then we have Justice Lord's Batman, sort of the take on the animated the Justice Lords from Batman Beyond in realistic looking form. Then we have Nightmare Azrael. He's some kind of deluxe box figure. He's the golden. Can't read it. I thought there was something special about him. He's gold label, but I thought he was like the golden Nightmare Azrael or something. He looks cool, but I think he's just a repaint of a previously released Azrael figure. Then we mentioned the movie briefly. We have the Riddler in his final form costume, I guess they were calling it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Silver Age Superman. They've done tons of Supermans, but everyone, I don't, since I don't collect DC Multiverse, I've heard a lot of people, I've read this comment more than once, that Todd just hasn't been able to nail the perfect Superman figure, even though he's done a ton of them. I don't know. This one looks pretty good to me.
Yeah, this one's real good too. Yeah.
Then we have also what they're calling the Silver Age Two-Face.
I think
Yeah.
I like that one.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. Revealed at Toy Fair is a Super Friends line, the same scale as the Batman 66 line, which is sort of like the 5-inch scale. And we have Batman from that. We have Green Lantern and the Riddler. There you can see the packaging. It comes in the Super Friends packaging. And one thing you might take notice there is so Todd's variants are called Platinums. Okay, you'll see them. They have that sticker, but it's normally just silver. And he's basically gotten to the point where there's a variant for every single figure he makes. Now these new ones are these red foil Platinums, and that means that it's a unique figure to the line, which it sort of doesn't even make sense because he's not a variant, but they're calling him the Platinum for the line. Maybe he's harder to get. I don't know. But so if you want all of them, it seems like the Riddler might be the harder one to get of the Super Friends line. Lex Luthor, and finally Sinestro. And actually, there's one there. Looks like one of the Rainbow Batmans, the red or orange one there.
Yeah.
And he's a variant. You can tell there he's one of the quote unquote normal variants. He's the same figure, just a different paint deco. So thus the Platinum sticker on him.
They all look fine. They all look pretty. Yeah.
I think the packaging's kind of neat. If you're a big Super Friends fan,
Yeah.
it might be a fun line to collect.
Looks old and banged up.
Yeah, they did go for that sort of distressed retro look.
Yeah.
And finally, the last McFarlane item, because Todd was, I guess, jealous that he was left out in the cold, not making Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figures. He is now. He's making Page Puncher Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles figures based on the IDW Turtles.
Pretty cool.
Pretty good. Yeah. It's funny. You go back to that distressed card. Everybody tries their best to keep their cards from getting distressed. They go ahead and they just manufacture distressed cards. It's like, jerk.
Yep.
Yeah. So we'll stick with turtles, but we're going to move over to NECA. They got tons of turtles.
I've got a random question to ask you about turtles.
Yeah.
So I've got a fighting game itch right now. We were talking about that for a minute. There's a lot of cameos from a lot of characters in the fighting games. Like Spawn, obviously, is one of my favorites. He's in Mortal Kombat. He was in Soul Calibur. You're familiar with all this, Pat, right?
Yeah.
I was playing Killer Instinct, and they actually had the Battletoads. Remember the Battletoads with Killer Instinct?
Mm-hmm.
And it got me to thinking, obviously, the Turtles are a perfect cameo for fighting games. Have they ever, can you think of any turtle cameo in a fighting game?
I thought they were in Injustice.
Oh, yeah, you're right. They were. Yeah, okay. That answers my question. Okay, that's what I was thinking. Man, that's a great game. Anyway, go ahead.
Turtle Talk. NECA Turtle Talk. This next series of figures is based on Stan Sakai's artwork, which I thought was pretty cool. First, we'll show you Usagi. I think this is the same Ronin figure they released before, but it's a new crazy paint deco of it. But the main draw here was the turtle figures in Stan's style. So there they are, and they come with alternate heads. There's the other two.
Those are cool. Those are cool.
Yeah, I really like them. I don't know if I'll get them, but I do like them. There's the whole lineup all together.
This is the thing with me with action figures. Like, that looks awesome, right?
Mm-hmm.
But unless you live in a mansion with 100 rooms, you know, it's not long before this shelf is crowded with 18 other figures, and it just doesn't look right, you know?
You start off like that, but then like 7 months later, you've got to add a couple more.
Yeah, and it just, I mean, and hopefully Tyler's not mad at me for saying this, but that's kind of what Tyler's stuff's getting ready to, it's kind of starting to look like. It's very crowded. I haven't seen him in his new place yet, but man, action figures, when they have the space like this, look so awesome. But as soon as they get crowded, everything bleeds into itself, so none of it looks that great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you experience that at your house, Pat?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's sad, basically, what I'm saying. I mean, because you'd really love to just have enough space for all of them that you'd have to set them up like this to make them look so awesome, you know?
I do appreciate NECA's presentation there, because that makes it look more like my house, because the shelf is all dusty.
Okay, yeah. Man, dusting, that's a whole nother thing. Yeah, I mean, geez.
Canned air.
I'm just gonna go straight in line here, because there are more turtles. Just hold your horses. We'll get to them. We have some new Sesame Street. We have Harry Monster.
That's cool.
We have Big Bird. It comes with what I thought was cool, that comes with the original looking Big Bird head swap.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And their final reveal was Oscar the Grouch. So
nice.
And then I did this for Karen. Hopefully,
hold on. What's that thing behind him?
Yeah, don't ask. A lot of people commented about that.
Okay. Okay.
I don't think any answers were ever given. I'm sure it's
Obviously
something.
trunks of some type.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think they fit into the trash can when Oscar's not in there.
Oh, so it's like
it's obviously something episode specific that happened at one point, but I don't remember it.
Like the Snuffleupagus family stuck in there or something.
I guess.
Okay. How do I remember Snuffleupagus, but I can't remember an artist from a book that I had from 4 months ago?
Well,
Mike?
Priorities.
Because when you were watching Sesame Street, your brain was like a sponge. You absorbed that.
Yeah.
That Snuffleupagus will never leave your brain.
Yeah. All right, sorry.
Yeah, like I said, this is I was hoping that Karen would like these. NECA is doing and the speculation here is because they have the Elvis license, they are doing Stitch Elvis figures. So this is the Elvis gold suit Stitch figure, and then we also have the Singer Stitch figure.
I know this guy. He used to work for me. He's the biggest, like, stud masculine type kid, right? And he was kind of trouble too. Like, he looked like he did some time, you know, that guy, you know, like this is like a pseudo kind of stereotypical scary guy, right? And totally masculine. But his favorite thing was Stitch. He literally had Stitch inflatables in his front yard for like Thanksgiving and Christmas. It was like, just, you know, you never know what people, it's really going to hit home with them, you know? So, I mean, Stitch is great, obviously, you know? Anyway, sorry. More segues every time I segue. Sorry.
That's all right. Sorry, I was muted there. I was going to say he does, you know, Stitch does have that devious side to him, so maybe that's what was attracting.
That's true. Yeah.
So yeah, gold suit, Singer suit, whatever. Both look great. People don't. As they're saying, does this mean that NECA has the Disney license now. They can do more Disney stuff, but who knows? We'll see. Back to Turtles. 2012 Turtles, my favorite Turtles because I watched it with my son. I love these Turtles.
Yeah, they're great. Yeah, definitely.
It was a really good reboot of the show. You used a lot of the classic stuff, but revamped it for the modern age and 3D animation style. And I thought it really worked well. Turtles. And you can see in the background, we got closer up shots of the foot soldier and of Shredder with Krang on his shoulder like a little parrot.
That's funny.
And now I do think this is the final Turtles. They're continuing their monster line, but they're sort of branching off, not just doing Universal mashups with the Turtles. I guess this is the more straightforward one. This is a Dracula Shredder, which I don't know about this one. I like the alternate heads, but it's just like, it seems like Dracula in armor to me. I don't know.
Yeah,
he's a decent looking figure, but
I wouldn't know if that was a Turtles figure. Basically, if I just
Exactly.
saw it like that. Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of what what I'm trying to get at. I do like the turtle with the candle on it down there by the base, though.
That's pretty funny. Yeah.
Then we have, I guess this one could be perceived as a mashup between Universal. It looks sort of like the take on the Metaluna Mutant, and that's this Krang figure, which I think it looks kind of neat if you get the reference.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that, so I can imagine if I was, it'd be cool looking.
Just sort of imagine the Krang brain thing on as the real head, and that's sort of more like what the Metaluna Mutant looks like. And then the final one, which I don't think has any relation to any other media, but he's pretty cool in a weird way, and it's this two-headed turtle. So,
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the lore on this? I mean, is that Cyclops? What's that thing called with the one eye and the horn? Is that what one of the heads look like, or was it three heads, or you know what I mean?
yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what's going on there. 2 heads, 3 arms.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But yeah, crazy but kind of cool. Yep.
I don't know if I was super impressed by these, but I figured I'd show them. These are Super 7 Reaction Plus that I remember we talked about. I think that started with the G.I. Joe Mothership, where they were doing O-ring figures. They were calling Plus because they're more than 7 or 5 points of articulation. They're doing some Back to the Future. We got Doc Brown and 2 Martys.
No.
Marty's terrible.
They're all 3 bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I almost didn't show them. Then they're doing Universal Monsters in the Reaction Plus. So the creature, we have Wolfman, and we've got Dracula so far.
Those are nice.
Mike, I meant to go back and find. I have the initials for the company TOT, but I don't remember what the company is. But they are doing Crow figures. So there's your Raven Crow figure.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that looks very comic book.
Yeah.
Based more on the comic book than the Brandon Lee movie.
Yeah,
wow, that's really good.
And he's actually, for some reason, that's the only detail I got. He's 6.5 inches, so he's like sort of in between a Marvel Legends and a Todd McFarlane DC multiverse figure. So,
that's good.
And then we'll start to wind it up here with some Hot Toys. Again, mentioned in this show. One person certainly likes this movie. Well, no. Was this movie? I'm getting them. Yeah, it's this movie. Batman and Robin, right? Mr. Freeze.
I love it. He's literally my favorite character, even more than Batman, from Batman and Robin. This is part of the reason why I love Batman and Robin, because I thought Arnold as Mr. Freeze He just, I mean, he come on, guys. He cracked you up through the entire movie too, right?
No.
No. By the time Mr. Freeze was shown, I think I was so mad.
Oh, okay.
When he pulled out the back credit card, I was like, "You've got to be kidding me!" And from there on out, I was like looking at through angry eyes. I think so. Nothing was going to help me. I don't think.
Like that angry eyes.
Looking at they were separate rolling angry eyes. As a matter of fact.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, this looks awesome.
Okay, so to break this down quickly, you can see the deluxe version. There's two different price tiers here. The base version is $355, and the deluxe exclusive version is $385.
Hey, and here's all I'm saying, okay? Here, front and center for both of y'all is evidence I am not the only one, okay?
I guess.
They're mass, Hot Toys is mass producing this figure character is evidence that, there's definitely plenty of us out there, Yeah.
Because his cost, there's definitely some cost involved in light up features for sure on this guy. Yeah. He's got a lot of it.
Yeah, he looks so awesome.
And the sort of the sub series, I guess you could call it, the Hanyo Toys, remember the introductory type figures.
Yeah,
they are delving into Star Wars now, and they're doing, first off, for some reason they're starting with Rebels, and they're starting with a Stormtrooper.
Okay.
And don't stop there, because since we have a Stormtrooper, we can also do what they're calling the Squad Leader with the Orange Cauldron.
Yeah.
And they're teasing Darth Vader.
Okay. Yeah.
Stormtrooper 165, Squad Leader 175, Darth Vader probably 195, 200. I don't know. We'll see. And because we don't have any money left, our last item, not Toy Fair related, but fast food related, and head out to your Wendy's once again, folks, because Series 2 of their boxed minifigures are hitting right now.
But Series 1 was such a hit, wasn't it? Because they were one color, right?
Yes, they are one color. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only part I don't think about it. Yeah. But I guess if you're a painter, it's fun.
Yes.
There's the first 3 sets, and there's the second 3 sets.
Awesome.
So I'm guessing, like the first series, you'll get 3 to a box, just like you see here, but they could potentially be one of 3 or 4 different colors. So that's kind of the maddening part too.
Well, the good thing is you did save what I can afford to last.
Yeah. Well, yes, he says we're broke, so we're just getting an extra with our food. Wait, does he? I forget, because I got some of these. Did they cost extra, or do they come with a meal or whatever?
I think it's some kids meal or something.
Yeah, they come with the kids meal.
Well, you can pay extra to just get it by itself.
They see now, if we go back in the time machine, they would not allow me to buy them separately, at least at my Wendy's. And that led to them actually just saying, "Here, just take some."
Yeah.
Here's what I'm going to say as a positive for these, as an older man too. I tend to eat more than I need to, especially when I go fast food, because it's so freaking yummy. Whenever there's something like this with a Happy Meal or whatever that I like, I typically down buy. Like, I don't buy a Happy Meal and then also, and when I just get the Happy Meal for something like this, it's typically less than what I'd usually eat. So it's a win-win.
You're a rookie. Pokemon were just at McDonald's. You remember when Pokemon cards were at McDonald's a month ago?
Yeah.
So I was trying to get that set. It's a 15 card set, trying to get it for Cora. I would go to McDonald's and I would order 2 nugget Happy Meals.
I would just order one. See?
Yeah, I ordered 2. Yeah.
Would you eat them both?
Yeah, and a fillet of fish.
Oh man.
I know. Dang, Pokemons. We're
You're
still getting-
naturally thinner than I am, though. You don't put on weight like I do.
but I also didn't get a full 15 card set.
That sucks.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned McDonald's because I went for years. I tried to avoid it. It just didn't sit with me right, and it was that's fine because I only beat McDonald's. Nobody does, I guess.
Yeah.
But recently, I've been dipping my toes in the Big Mac sauce yet again.
Yeah.
And I happened to be I stopped for lunch one day when I was coming home from work, and I witnessed the Pokemon craziness firsthand. There was some people getting into like raised voice talk over these Pokemon cards coming in their meals. There's like a woman like buying 6 or 7 of them. You know, it's like, come on, man.
I feel terrible for buying 2, but
Yeah,
there was no line. I was at the drive-through. There was no line.
It's so Pokemon is so bad. I can't wait till the next time we have Michael on because I wanted to talk to him about it to get his perspective on it because it seems so out of control, you know.
Well, my brother-in-law is a maintenance guy for Target, and he tells me stories about these people lining up out front in the morning before they're. I'm like, really? He goes, yeah, it's either sometimes it's a mix of the Pokemon guys and the Hot Wheels guys.
Yeah.
I was like, really? It really makes it, it's like, I don't want to be a part of that. I mean, I'm not, I don't go waiting out in line, but I like them. I'm interested in those. But yeah,
it's kind of like for a minute, we would be waiting outside the comic store, not for a minute, for a while, before they opened to try to get what we knew was the hottest book of the week or whatever, whenever we'd want it.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just not interested in doing that anymore. I'll just come in and take whatever they didn't take and then not buy it from them in the aftermarket,
Yeah.
Yep. But anyway, what are you going to do? That's the world we live in.
Yep.
What are you going to do? But that's it for the Horizon.
Nice.
All right. Hold on. Karen, where you at? Oh, okay. Great job, Pat. Lots of great stuff. Really appreciate it.
Some might say too much.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Hey, I may have asked this before, so I apologize for repeating myself, but it's good for people that are just checking us out now. How does the line work anyway? So is Todd make all does he take the primary risk? Like, especially with we joke about, no pun intended, with the Jokerized. Who's stuck holding the bag on all these, or is no one? Like they produce as they sell, or obviously they have to produce a certain amount to even get them out on the racks to begin with. But who's stuck holding the bag for the peg, the peg warmers, is it Target? Is it Todd? Is it, what do you think, Pat? Or do you know for a fact?
No, I really don't know. I mean, I feel like I don't. I know. I think like when there's an overstock and they clear stuff out, I don't think that falls back on the manufacturer. I think that's Target like purchased so much inventory and then they mark it down or to write it off. I don't know. I really don't know.
So, but you're thinking though that they purchase, say, 500 before they even produce 500. So then they only produce what they sell, and then Target's got to deal with, and then whatever. That's what your speculation is.
Yeah, but I don't know.
And then once it weans down to Ollie's or whatever, then I guess after Ollie's just throws it in the trash. I mean, it's like landfills of figures that, you know what I mean? It's like, it's like the old thing with, the obviously one of the problems with the capitalist model is, everything's not consumed. So it's, I don't know. I've heard differently nowadays, but back in the day, in the 90s, in the 80s, when we were working fast food, you had to throw all the food away because you couldn't give it to people for reasons, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, you'd think once all of these collectibles have made it through the rungs of whether it's going to sell or not, it could just become a giving thing. You know what I mean? Especially for when it gets to that point, all the people with money and the collecting stuff have had their fill or had their shots. Just give it to kids. You know what I mean?
Gee, thanks for the Eternals figure.
Well, well, it would be one of those kids that just like beat the heck or, light it on fire. Not that I'm trying to condone that kind of activity, but that kind of, like the Toy Story kid. He's not really interested in the toys. What's that kid's name that, abused the toys or whatever?
I don't know it if I hear it, but other than that, can't pull it.
I actually saw a short yesterday. I think Quentin Tarantino was on the Bill Maher podcast or whatever, and he was mentioning that he thinks the Toy Story trilogy is perfect, and it's one of his favorite trilogies of all movies of all time, which it's obviously great. And he's saying he didn't even see 4 because they ended 3 so perfectly. It's like, I don't even want to risk knowing whether 4 was good or not. I don't care, and I totally related to that with him,
Yeah. I'm in that boat. Never saw the 4th one. I think my family did though, and they were disappointed.
I think I did too, and it was disappointing as well. Yeah. So don't go see it. There's your extra bonus.
Yeah.
Advice for what Kevin watched. You guys got your unwraps?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Mike, you're first. What do you got?
I have 2 because I couldn't just get one. They're the Kinder toys, but they are Funko DC themed.
Oh, awesome.
Now, I don't know if they're specific, like if Joker's in this one and Batman's in this one, or if they're just random. But in case they weren't random, I picked the 2 that I wanted based on the cover.
Okay.
So we'll check these out and we'll see. But I also wanted to say that it might be tricky to say, but Pinup Apocalypse is worth asking for at your LCS.
Okay.
Right. Which one's this? I think this is
Pinup
Batman.
Apocalypse.
Pinup.
Is that a Lego, Pat?
Pin Apocalypse. Oh.
No,
crap.
pin up a copolyc.
No, Pin Up Apocalypse. Pin Apocalypse. Pin
Apocalypse? No.
No, it's Pin Up and Apocalypse, but the up is the apocalypse. Pin Apocalypse.
No.
Yes.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
How about I just show you? Because I've got it right
show me.
here.
Because I feel like that was way too easy. We wouldn't be having
Pin
Apocalypse.
Apocalypse.
Yeah, that's not hard to say at all. Then
it is hard.
Pin Apocalypse.
Pin Apocalypse. See, yeah,
it's easy.
Now we'll come back around. You know what I did? I opened the candy. I'm sorry, I opened the wrong one. Because it's got the little scooper food thing on this one. I thought this was the candy. Sweet.
Pin Apocalypse. It's so easy.
It's Joker. I have to build it.
Awesome. Wait, you got to build it?
Yeah.
A Build-A-Pop. That's new.
Actually, it's pretty simple. Oh, I just put 2. I don't know what that is. All right, go ahead. Who's next?
Yeah, I got Lego minifigure series 27.
Nice.
Cheated here because there's an app now. You scan the QR code thingy deal down there, and you can tell who you're gonna get. So
Wow.
which is good for me because I only wanted one figure out of all these losers.
Okay.
We'll see if the app worked though.
Oh, that's nice, Mike. What is that one figure, Pat?
Can you guess who I would want there? He is on the box there.
Hold on, I've got a
beast monster guy.
Yes, the beast monster guy. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And my recap here is I'm probably stepping on toes, but it was the easiest one I could think of. When it comes to Paradise, it's obviously a roll of the dice.
Nice.
It's all good. It's all good.
It's not what I hear from other people.
Oh, so I'm not lying. I totally bought another football guy, but I literally couldn't find it when I was looking for it earlier. So I unfortunately am bad again, and I do not have a unwrap. Man, I'm going to admit my own hypocrisy here right now too.
Yeah, you were ready to take us out to the woodshed.
I was so getting judgy of you guys being like, come on, especially you, Mike, because this was your idea, you know. I was like, Mike, geez, how you gonna not, yada yada. And then here I am. I think this is my second show in a row. And I really apologize, but this time I did buy one, but I bought it. I actually forgot about the Silverhawks things too. I did so many things proactively after the show 2 weeks ago, which was buying a thing to unwrap, but I have no idea where I put it. So, but I will give the recap of kind of like rolling the dice with Paradise. You also kind of roll the dice with latest Nicolas Cage movies, but I feel like we got a winner with Arcadian. So check that out for Nicolas Cage and bonus great acting from other people. So,
all right. Question answered. The picture on the outside of the candy does not dictate what's in it. It just so happened that the Joker one came with the Joker. The Batman one comes with Harley. And it, yeah, it's kind of classic Harley.
So you just got lucky the first time.
Yeah, it's kind of cool that you got Joker and Harley.
Yeah, that's a good pairing, of course. Yeah.
Can't put it together. Oh, another wrap up. I will not be purchasing a dragon toy.
Well, you're going to be envious.
I am.
When someone else does. Those are cool. That's interesting that I'm not really feeling the mini pops that much, especially the ones that come in the plastic case that look like the box.
Oh, I love those.
I'm not really feeling those because it's like they're so freaking tiny. You know what I mean? It's like if they were even a little bit bigger, like the metal figs we get, I would like them more. But I feel like they're just too tiny. And now here you got a pop you got to put together.
Well, it's the toy. It's the Kinder. Obviously, you've never had Kinders.
No. I have.
Because all of these toys you have to put together.
I was just thinking, since it's the Pop DC crossover, they just have the Pop in there, though. You know what I mean?
Oh, it doesn't have a checklist.
It doesn't?
No, but it has a game you can play.
What?
The QR code that you scan, and you play a game, I guess, with your character.
That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Pat, what'd you get? Did you get the monster guy?
I did, and you know how sometimes you get an extra piece?
Yeah.
My little demon is extra horny.
Okay.
Hold on, I can't see that thing. Oh, nice. Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice.
He also comes with a book that says "Boo."
Can you hold it?
Probably.
Is he going on that? Is he going in that knick-knack rack behind you?
Patty Whack, he certainly is.
Okay. All right, then last, did you have another recap, Pat?
Geiger's a great series. If you're in the mood for some sort of B-movie comic books.
Nice. That's what I was gonna say too. I'm diving into the deep end of the pool with the Energon universe. Looking for some help with Transformers and Rivals. Sounds like Mike's just gonna give me the Rivals to read.
Yes.
Hoping that Pat actually does follow through with the Transformers reads, though. That'd be cool. Love to have all the information. It's gonna take me a while to catch up, though. I'm just gonna stick with G.I. Joe until I feel like, until it compels me that I need something that I didn't get. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right, that'll do it then. Let's wrap this up real quick. I don't know if Karen set me up before she left. Hopefully she did. Please like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell to get notifications of everything we post. Got a lot of great stuff. Follow Xcellar Comics on Facebook, Instagram, and X, and follow Xcellar_comics on TikTok. And then check out what we have to offer on eBay at Xcellar_comics. Then watch our shows on the Whatnot app. I have a show scheduled for tonight. You can bookmark. I have all intentions of that happening, but my Saturday shows do tend to move. But I definitely get one show in every week at least. Looking to upgrade that too. My life's getting ready to change now that the good weather's here. So hopefully everyone can look forward to that. And you can help support us aside from buying stuff from us. If you just want to hook us up and support the show and everything we do and plan to do, you can do it through Patreon at patreon.com/Xcellar Comics. And then please vote on round 3 of Cover Combat. This is out of order, but I'm going to say this anyway because it's just happened this past Monday. You can vote on our current round of Cover Combat, round 3 of Cover Combat 11 on Facebook, or you can go to watch the Cover Combat show and vote there. You can do that until March 23rd, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then watch our next preview show that will drop tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. To see what else, besides for everything else we showed you on this show, that you need to go out and pre-order for this coming. And then blah, 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 blah. Lastly, is this date right? Yeah, it is. Join our next regular live stream on YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook 2 Saturdays from now, March 29th at 8:30 a.m.-ish Eastern Standard Time. And actually, in between that, we've got the next Cover Combat show, not 2 days from now, but 9 days from now. That'll be Cover Combat round 4. You can check that out. You know, it's a good thing we don't pre-plan any of this stuff with the banners and everything, you know. So,
yeah.
Sorry about it.
Just subscribe and keep checking in.
Yeah, just subscribe and check us. Yeah, that's a good way to put it, Mike. Did you have anything else for today, though, Mike?
Nope. Fun show. I'm all good.
Pat?
Nope, I'm good.
All right, awesome. This was a lot of fun. We appreciate everybody checking us out. And until next time, don't forget, appreciating great art is awesome. But reading a great story is also a lot of fun, especially Mike's experience in that on today's show with Deadly Tales of Gunslinger. Or no, dadgummit, that's a different show. But yeah, appreciate great art and reading a great story. A lot of fun. So pick up a comic book, do both. Xcellar out.